seule convoi, ma seule convoi. Oh, oh, alike, ah, oh, alike, Master confort, oh, gentile, l'enlada file wake, l'enlada file wake. Come on, let not oh, oh, Malika. Oh, Malika, oh, Lentiba. No, 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 no. Oh, ma seule convoi, ma seule convoi. Oh, I wanna know. Why I know ya that to grab it to my quite far away. Why I know yanta. Why I know yanta. Meu era bonu. Meu era bonu. Massa confort. Oh, gentile. L'enlada file wake, l'enlada file wake. Come on, let not go in oh, oh, Malika, oh, Malika, oh, Lentiba. No, 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 no. Oh, ma seule convoi, ma seule convoi. Oh, oh, alike, ah, oh, alike. You will come in, will fair, young girl. You will come, will fair, young girl. You will come, will fair, young girl. Young girl, oh, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Why ya kwa woman ikawa doya? Why ya kwa say why ya beka fu ikawa doya? Ngakatelo tukalabo tukalabo. Ngakatelo tukalabo tukalabo. Yeah girl, yeah girl, yeah girl, yeah girl. Yeah, girl, yeah, girl, yeah, girl, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl. You will come in, will fair, young girl. You will come, will fair, young girl. You will come, will fair, young girl. Young girl, oh, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Why ya kwa woman ikawa doya? Why ya kwa say why ya beka fu ikawa doya? Ngakatelo tukalabo tukalabo. Ngakatelo tukalabo tukalabo. Yeah, girl, yeah, girl, yeah, girl, yeah, girl. Yeah, girl, yeah, girl, yeah, girl, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, You will come in, will fear, young girl. You will come in, will fear, young girl. You will come in, will fear, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Young girl, young girl, young girl. Oh, why ya her woman why ya say why ya back up for it I can't tell what to tell I can't tell what to tell yeah, girl, 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 oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl. You will come in, will fear, young girl. You will come in, will fear, young girl. You will come in, will fear, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Young girl, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Oh, young girl. Why ya her woman why ya say why ya back up for it I can't tell what to tell I can't tell what to tell yeah, girl, yeah, girl, yeah, girl, yeah, girl. Yeah, girl, yeah, girl, yeah, girl, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, girl, oh, yeah, you are the baby. Nailia, Imalia, you are the baby. You are the man. You are the man. You are my man, you are my man. You are my fun, you are my man. Oh, you are my man. Oh, you are my man. I want my man. Now you are my man. Mube omosie mwakomo bifanya for murder. Mube omosie mwadia mo bifanya for murder. Not even when you want to funny, what check it out. Not even when you want to funny, what check it out. You are very bad. You are very poor. You are very bad. You are very poor. You are very mad. You are very mad. You are very mad. You are very mad. Oh, 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 you are very poor. Oh, no. Why, yeah, for her woman, it could go there. Why, yeah, for say, why, back up, it could go there. I can't tell what the color to cover. I can't tell what the color to cover. Yeah, girl. 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 Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. You are the baby. Nailia, Imalia, you are the baby. 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 Oh, you are the baby. Oh, you are the baby. I want the baby. Oh, you are the baby. You wanna come, you wanna fair, yeah, girl. You wanna come, you wanna fair, yeah, girl. Yeah, girl, yeah, girl. Yeah, girl, yeah, girl. Yeah, girl, yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. Why, yeah, for her woman, it could go there. Why, yeah, for say, why, back up, it could go there. I can't tell what the color to cover. Nakatelo atakanabo takakaba. Yago, 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 oh yago, oh yago, oh yago, oh yago. You are my man, 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 oh, you are my man, oh, you are my man, I want my man, now you are my man. Mubera mansie mwa kono gwi fwa iya pomwede. Mubera mansie mwa dia mo gwi san iya pomwede. Na tebe na wani ban top for the wa check it out. Na tebe na wani ban top for the wa check it out. You are very bad. You are very poor. You are very bad. You are very poor. You are very mad. You are very mad. You are very mad. You are very mad. Oh, 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 you are very poor. Woman, you can't go there. Why ya kwase why back up it go there. I can't tell what to call to cover. I can't tell what to call to cover. Yeah, go, yeah, go, yeah, go, yeah, go, yeah, go, yeah, go. Yeah, go, yeah, go, oh, yeah, go, oh, yeah, go, oh, yeah, go, oh, yeah, Imalia, you are the baby. Nailia, Imalia, you are the baby. 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 You are the fun, you are the man. Oh, you are the man. Oh, you are the man. I want the man. Now you are the man. Mubera masi mwa kono gwi fwa iya pomwene. Mubera masi mwa dia mo gwi sa iya pomwene. Not even when you want to funny, what take it out. Not even when you want to funny, what take it out. You are very fine. You are very poor. You are very fine. You are very poor. You are very fine. You are very fine. You are very fine. You are very fine.
Okay, folks, if you are just tuning in, we'd like to say welcome again to this edition of Science and Society. We're always here on Tuesday and Friday, and today is another edition. If you are watching, just joining us, we'd like to say welcome, and we always like to advise you to share our live video as much as you can, so that the people who are not part can also be part of our show. So we advise that you share the live video as much as you can. Even me, I've also personally done. So for those of you who just joining us today, maybe it's your first time joining us. Maybe I'll just like to give you a rundown of what we do here at Science and Society, or Science. Here we link science to society on how we can be able to solve the everyday problem scientific problem we face in our community, in our society, in our government. And so this place is the home of all scientists, engineers, and also whether you are an engineer, you are a doctor, or maybe probably you are a nurse, or probably you are, I mean, whether be a chemist, you are maybe probably you are a biologist. This place is your home. So here we invite people who are making significant impact into society. Probably you also have Liberia, or maybe in Liberia, and we think you have done a kind of you can be able to contribute to the growth and development of Liberia. On we will come here every Tuesday and Friday to discuss the way forward, how we can be able to join in to improve some of the things that uh, we see back home in Liberia that are not improved. And so that's it. That's what we do here at Science in Society. I will soon be joined by my colleagues. Some of my colleagues will soon be joining me, and I'm always here with Edwin Olu. I'm also here today. I'll be here with Edwin Olu, Darius Stewart, and I'll also be here today with my colleague Madison Goyon from Turkey will also going to be joining me today, and also John Satamba from Uganda will also be joining me today. And so we was here last on Friday. Today, this week edition is a very much interesting edition because we have, I mean, in fact, today is very interesting. We'll be having someone who, I mean, very young, inspiring person who is doing so much pretty good in the engineering sector. I will be introducing, will be speaking to us shortly, giving his introduction. And by Friday, we'll also have Dr. Jerito. Dr. Jerito will also be on Friday, also a veteran lecturer in lecture at the University of Liberia School of Pharmacy. He's going to be here today on Friday. But today we have a we call it the young people edition, inspiring young person that every young that is greatly inspiring everyone, even me, inspiring me a lot by just by doing PhD. It's something that I mean not too many young people can do, and it's actually being good. So our advisor, you share the live video as much as you can, and we seen the live is increasing as the time go pass by. But here at innovate at Science and Society, we don't wait because time is our greatest enemy. Most of the time, we have our colleague joining in as the show is going on. They will also be joining, and so just so you know, this program is sponsored, as on the screen, is sponsored by the I Have Library STEM project and the Librarian Daily Dose. The Librarian Daily Dose is a blog that is also sponsoring. Hopefully we're gonna get a sponsorship from Too Easy Liberia. Too Easy also gonna be sponsoring. Like I said the other time, if you are also a media practitioner, maybe probably you out there and you want to also help us, you can come in to help. They help. We don't want money from you. We're always here. We are all students here. But this show is a professional show that is promoting a lot of professional Liberian, like Emmanuel today will be joining, today join us. And really, the only help we want from you is for this program to be aired on community radio, so that people who are in the interior side, talking about Grand Basso, Lofa, Nimba, or Monserrado, can be able to hear their songs, the voice of their song, and they can be here some of these policies issue their sons are discussing here, because these are things that are very much serious. These are things that, I mean, if we take serious in the long run in Liberia, our country will improve, and will be, I mean, will be up there with other countries in the region like Ghana and Nigeria. I mean, other countries should be comparing themselves with us, but we have to say we want to be like Ghana, we want to be like Nigeria, and we can do more than them if we keep taking things like this serious. People that come on this platform, and that is the essence of this kind of conversation, and what is the way forward on how we can defend. Today is we in the engineering sector. We'll have someone from the engineering sector. Before I can go to him, I will take my one of my panelists. Rachel is the only female here these days. Rachel is here with us. Rachel, welcome. And do you have anything to say? You are muted.
Okay, are you guys doing? I really don't have a question to ask. Just
No, no, but
yeah,
I don't. Yeah, yeah. It's not really question time. Yeah, we just started, so you give me time.
yes.
Actually,
So
okay.
I'm here to learn from Emmanuel to so so engineering. That's not my place where, but anyway, we are here to learn. We are here to learn from a great minded person. So I really that
Thank you,
question. Yeah.
thank you so much. And just so you know, folks, before I can introduce you, Mara, welcome to the platform. First of all, let me say that to you personally. Welcome to the platform. I'm proud of you personally. I'm proud, like what Rachel is saying. You inspire me a lot. Like I said to you on the conversation between you and myself, and I'm so proud of you. And this is something. This is a great step you have taken, and I know it will yield result in the future. It will yield a lot of food. A lot of librarians will benefit from what the step you are taking by doing PhD in civil engineering. And I mean, I was surprised before. I was surprised, or was it last week? You know, my big brother, the civil engineer at the university. So, you know, because of some time he didn't continue his study, and then because of engineers are always getting contract or something like that. So yesterday he called me and he said, "My man, can I get on a master program to do? I don't know. The way my age is, I'm getting older. Most of the scholarship, the age I, I'm not in the age range." So I said to him, I mean, I will try, but if you also have to take the bold step to take some venture and see how you can be able to for education is very important. And I was thinking, I said, wow, so these things that we are doing is actually a great step we're taking, because at a certain point in time in your life, you will not have the time again. Sometimes most of the opportunity you will not be in that kind of age range again, and maybe I say you pay your own money to go to school. And so I'm proud of you, Mara. So, folks, if you are out there, this is Science in Society. Stay with us. We here with J. Emmanuel, Bernard Sumo. So, the Sumo name is something that is related to Lofa. I don't know, maybe probably he want to say that. I, I, I have some kind of a connection with the Sumo from Lofa. because my mom is also from Lofa. That's why I know that name Bernard Sumo. Something that I know Sumo is from Lofa, and so he hold a master's in civil engineering from India, and also he also currently a PhD student. He's a scholar of the famous or the prestigious or Pan African scholarship sponsored by the Pan African Union, the African Union Scholarship, which we all know about at the Jomo Kenyatta University Institute of Basic Science. And so you're also going to be telling you about that. I think just to confess, but at certain point in time in my life, I applied for PAU before coming up here for my masters. I applied at the Powers. I applied at Powers. That was when I graduated in 2019 from university, and then I applied to do my masters in water engineering. We were looking for scholarships, so I know about this scholarship. So when I saw, I said, "Wow, you know, Imara it shows that Imara is good because selected among thousands of people every year is something that show that you are very very strong." And so he will be currently doing PhD in structural engineering. We all know that Liberia problem currently is a structural problem we face. Looking if you go to Morovia, looking at face labor Morovia. I mean, talking about our cities, the way our cities are laid out and the people build houses in certain area. He's going to be discussing some of these things and also on his life, on how he have been building, like how he have been managing as a young person coming up. So we're happy to have him. I will go to him, but before I can go to him, I would like to say, Madison, welcome. And if you have anything to say, you can go ahead and say something before we go to Imar.
Mohammed, good evening to everybody and good evening to you. We're just happy again joining us, and for now, we'll keep listening as we go to Emmanuel. So I'm happy to be back.
Thank you. I also happy to have you today because I hope the other quality the modern internet won't base behave on you today. So I'm happy to have you. I'm very very sure of this.
I actually wish I wouldn't do sing today, Mohammed.
We pray so. That's Madison Koyon. Madison is in studying molecular biology in Turkey, and also we have Rachel Taylor from the Philippines. Rachel is with us. The good thing about this platform, we are all students, and we fighting our case. We're fighting our case for our people. Some of the people case we're fighting, we don't even know them from anywhere. We don't even know them, but we do this because of country, and hope that the platform will grow. And every day, the good thing I notice about this platform, every time we host people, these people get connected to our family at the end of the day. So I didn't know Imare from anywhere, and Imare, after this show, Imare going to get connected to us because this is something that every young person that is kind of every inspiring young person that is that mean the work that mean the better the good for a country, they will always see this kind of thing to be something that are very very much promising, things that are very much meaningful because this is an era where you can be able to express yourself far from politics. This is policy era for scientists to come and discuss what they think things should be back in Liberia. So I'm happy to have you, Mara, and I'll go to you to so you can pick it up from me. We need an introduction. Who is Mara and where you grew up, your life, what you have been doing. I mean, it's my first time seeing you. I'm happy to get connected to someone like you, and hope that we'll keep moving. Thank you, Mara.
All right. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, Madison. It's a pleasure to be on this platform, and I appreciate the opportunity so much. So my name is J. Manuel Benasmo. I was born and raised up in Firestone. I graduated from the Firestone Senior High School, and then I did undergrad at the University of Liberia in civil engineering. Then I went to India, where I did my master's in structural engineering with emphasis on sustainable construction materials. So I went back home. I was doing some kind of hustle with the Ministry of Public Works. And then this opportunity came to do a PhD in civil structural engineering at the Pan African University Institute of Basic Sciences, Technology, and Innovation in Kenya. So I've been here since June 30th of this year. So basically, that's it.
Thank you so much, Mara. And It was a kind of a very short opening because I know people like you won't be so, yeah, won't be so, you know. And I'm happy to hear that Emmanuel, you graduated from the University of Liberia, the nation premier. And I want to open the question like this. Uh, through your study of the line, can do you in any point of time in your study have had some difficulties that you face along the way, some of those difficulties you face? Because I know you look coming from the background, majority of Liberian coming from the background that can afford. I mean, how did you really manage to move your way through knowing going to a university that we know? Maybe probably you can tell me, but that I've been hearing that people say it's difficult to graduate, difficult to stay, and difficult to enter. How did you really manage to end the civil engineering? Because certain point in time, even at the civil engineering department, when I was in high school, people used to this place was like the civil engineering department was like a very terrible place that people we say if you go down there, you're not graduate on time, teachers will fail you like this. And sometimes when I used to go around the university like broad campus, and so probably you care to tell us something about that too?
Okay, so I graduated from Fashion School, and then I matriculated to University of Liberia. And then growing up, I've always had this passion for engineering. For some reason, I just believe that they had some very superhuman abilities. So I just had this passion. So I went to LU. I mean, I did the entrance, passed the entrance, and then I thought to apply to do civil engineering. So the civil engineering at LU, the journey began in 2011. But like you rightly said, from an average Liberian family, obviously there will be challenges, and there were challenges. But you know, I always told people that I'm not a fan of motivational speakers because I believe that there are things inside of me that motivate me way more than anybody else can tell me. So if you create your own motivation, you seem to conquer every obstacle that comes along your way. Your motivation will be your family, those who look up to you. How are these people going to feel if you fail? Let's assume you from a family where you're the only person who has had the chance to go to university. And then if you go there and play around and you mess up, what becomes of the hopes of those who look up to you? So that is my number one motivation. Like I remember when I had to go to India at the time, the consulate in Liberia, the issue of getting visa from Liberia, Indian visa from Liberia was a little challenging, and so I had to travel to Abidjan. So I went to Abidjan without connection, without knowing anybody, like literally with just maybe just to and fro transportation because I already paid for the visa in Monrovia. I just had a receipt. So maybe just to and fro transportation and full money for a week. That's why I took to Abidjan. So all through these journeys, what motivates me is my background. Because the truth is, I can't afford to mess up. Because if I do, I know how many hopes I'm dodging along the way. So I just can't afford to mess up. So that's my personal motivation. I don't listen to motivational speakers. I don't do that. I just every time things are getting tough and the temptation to back up, the temptation to combo, the temptation to break down gets high. I just look at the invisible view mirror and see those at the back, those behind me. What's gonna happen if I break down? So for me, that's my personal motivation. But like you said, going to LU is a little challenging nowadays. I think it's easier because the last time I was home, if you look among the staff, the engineering college had graduation the last time I was home. You see, I mean, people of your age range are not teaching at LU in the engineering department. That makes it easier. So at least you're being taught by people who see life the way you see it. People who go to the viewing center, people who go to the video club to watch football game. So I think that like closes the gap. But when we went to LU, we were taught by basically our parents, if now your grandpa teaching you like a pa, like somebody of your daddy's age range. So that gap was there. But nowadays, I think it's easier. So a lot of people, and I like the fact that a lot of young people are getting very brave on engineering related disciplines. So yeah, there's been challenges, but the motivation has always been there. And I don't go to motivational speakers for that motivation. It comes from within. I just look at where I come from, and that's enough to propel me to the next level.
Wow. US, if I may get this, US is better now than before, and you may be
Oh
right
yeah,
on
it
that
is.
because
It is.
yeah,
It is.
better now than before.
That's a
Yeah,
fact. Yeah,
yes,
that's a
and
fact.
it's
It
something.
is.
It shows that we are getting there little by little, but we can't keep praising our
Sure.
people because we like white chicken. Yeah.
Okay.
So yes. So Emmanuel, coming from looking at your background, you have studied in kind of a different cultural environment. You studied in Liberia, knowing, I mean, waking up in the middle of the night, studying with Canada, going on the street light to study. I mean, I know you may have experienced some of these things, going to class where you have close to 100% in the class at the university. I mean, not talking about your high school life, but the university alone was something that was very terrible. You know, you graduating from there, going to India, different kind of environment. I mean, I know most of the time, sometimes maybe language barrier could be another problem that you face.
Yeah.
And then you coming back to also in East Africa. So far, so good. You study some time now, maybe you have gone some months or 3 months, 4 months into your classroom, comparing this classroom environment and the campuses. I mean, what are some of the different experience you have had? I'm not saying, what are some of the different experience, you have had as per teaching, or what are some of the good they have done for you, some of these things have done for you, and also in terms of what some of the buy have done for you in terms of the environments, different to the environment that you are sitting.
Okay. So from my experience, I can say with confidence that our education system back home is good, but it needs improvement. It's good, but it needs improvement. So, and besides, the kind of system that we survive through, the kind of system that we put ourselves to survive through back home, like you mentioned, some of these challenges. So when you're opportune to get a scholarship and you go to a country where you're not worried about what you eat, you are not worried about where you sleep because these things are provided by the scholarship. So the only thing you gotta do is to go to school and put in time. You have internet connectivity. So with all these offers, I think it just makes it easier for you. It kind of lessens the burden and brings out the best in you. So in most instances, from what I know, when Liberian students step outside of home, they tend to outperform themselves back home. So, for example, if back home you went to LU and you graduated with a GPA of accumulated grade point of somewhere around 3.3, if you got an opportunity and went to Europe or you go to Asia on a fully funded program, there is a very high likelihood that you will outsmart that 3.3 GPA that you graduated with back home. Because Liberian students we are smart. The only thing that limits our potential back home is, I mean, some of the things you mentioned. These are the things that limit our potential back home. So if you bring us to an environment where, I mean, you fare like 4 times a day, you're giving monthly stipends, you have a place to sleep, you have unlimited internet access. I mean, that's when you get to know that Liberian students are very, very good. On the challenging side of it, obviously, there's nowhere like home. So when you step outside of home, you are away from home, you know that. And I mean, when you are away from home, there is something that you miss: the food, the language, the culture. So all these things you miss them. But again, you and I will agree from the experience that maybe the first couple of weeks you struggle with it, but as time go by, that harsh reality hits you, and you get to realize that, hey, I'm here for at least 2 years. So I don't make this place my home. I remain miserable for the next 2 years. So us humans, we have this kind of inherent I refer to it as inherent dashboard mechanism that helps us to navigate through situations. So you get to realize that I'm here for 2 years. They played at my home. I can't do anything about it. So I gotta get used to eating the food. I gotta get used to the kind of entertainment they like. For example, back home, when you on the public bus, you don't normally get people playing music that loud. But that was one of the cultural shock I got when I came to Kenya. You're on the bus. I think that was my first day because the school, the Jomo Kenyatta University, is like approximately 20 minutes away from Nairobi. So most of the time you go to Nairobi to buy stuff like provision. So I'm on the bus coming from Nairobi, and the music they've been playing, tell you in like those days Royal Plus, or Royal Plus. The music like on the bus. I don't even know why I'm getting down. How do I even tell the conductor that I'm getting down here? I'm just miserable to the extent that I had to keep asking one Kenyan word about me. I say I'm getting down to Juja. So when we reach Juja, please tell him for me. So these are some of the cultural shock. But as you realize that you're there for years, you tend to adapt. So nowadays, I mean, all of us can be on it because they can call it matatu, the buses. All of us can be on the matatu. The music is playing very loud. I mean, we're dancing to it, and we're going to and fro from Nairobi. So these are some of the adjustments, and these are compelling factors. You have to make these adjustments, or else you'll be miserable.
Yes, I agree with you. I think even my brother, Malaysian here is an example. The two of us, when we came up here, we faced problem with the food was one of the thing. At the end of the day, we didn't. But then for us, our scholarship, they have to force us to do certain things. And the fact that we're getting the money, like you say, the scholarship were fully funded and stuff. We have to get used to adjust to some of the life.
That's it.
Even language, adjust to language, speaking language, and it's helping us sometimes some way. Or we living like everyone living with the same kind of culture here and going by
I read
some
it.
rules. Yeah, and I agree with you when you say Liberian students are very fast in adapting. This is one of the greatest thing that we can ever do as a Liberian, because it's something that everywhere we go, our cultural adaptation is so fast. And one thing I learned from what you just said is it has to do with with the scholarship issue. Sometimes many a times I see on this platform to more young people who follow that you look at your background, like you say, look at it to be a motivation to you, and also when you stepping off south like bro, come on, you fully for the scholarship, maybe probably that could also motivate push you, because everything won't be rosy if you come out, even
Yeah,
if you're on a fully funded scholarship. But if you just imagine that at the end of the month they will give me stopping and I'm living here free, I'm not paying for water bill, nothing, but you are
that's
just
it.
going to school, you'll be like, okay, even if they give me anything to sell, I will sell it. Maybe probably some of those
That's
things
it.
I mean selling will give me benefit, will benefit me ahead. And I grabbed that, and similar motivation I had, I can imagine how I'm even going through some of those things that I'm doing. And you just speaking and like you speaking from my mind, because
Yeah, you see
I
that.
mean, yeah, it's something that even happened to me. It happened to everyone. Even Malaysians face similar problem. But I'll go to my other colleagues to ask question. We'll go to the female. Richard, do you have any question to ask Emmanuel?
I just wanna know, like, how has your understanding of structural engineering principle changed throughout your academic journey, and what are some of the key insights you have gained?
Okay. So like because back in LU, I was a big fan of structural mechanics.
Internet is giving some problem. I'm sure you're gonna come back on. Then as soon as he come back, he will answer your question, Richard. But before he come, as in we're waiting for him to come on, I will be reading some of the comments and some of the people who follow. Then probably when he said, then he can be able to answer your question. We have Jean Smallway is watching, and also we have John F. Cordova, Benjamin, Mr. Benjamin L. Tule Senior, my former boss is also watching. I know I wrong him, but we're going to talk on this. I'll call him, miss a call. And I also have Tolita saying great. She's also watching.
So okay.
Yeah. So
Like I was saying,
Emmanuel, before you
yeah,
can answer the question, let me just read the comments so that you people who following can stay with us. Then before, because
okay,
your internet will give you problem, so let's see
yeah,
what's gonna happen. Then you're gonna answer the question. Yeah. So
okay,
we have Tolita watching. Lofty Tokun is also watching. Taris Toure is watching. Lofty Toure is saying that's great. Kevin Sami is saying great. And so on the other platforms that we on the Innovation Lab platform, we see Stanley T. Stevenson joining from the headquarters of that's at your university, Jomo Kenyatta University, uh, Pan African African University of Science and Technology, and also
uh-huh.
Jim S.
Mm.
Wallaby saying show chairman, the young instructor. I don't know what he mean. I think he mean the young instructor of many currently. So we got Doba Kuboy is saying following closely. Waymon P. Bilia is joining he said joining from a little rescue corner. I think he's joining from India. Josephine T. Segotse is saying J. Emmanuel Sumo. He just said J. Emmanuel Sumo like that. Emmanuel Bernard Sumo like that. So God favor Idu Masako is in following from Mexico, Hungary. She's following from Hungary. I know he or she. But Ba is saying Johnny from Nairobi. Engineer Ba is saying Engineer Way Ba is saying Johnny from Nairobi. Nora Norin Shedra Johnny from Chocolate City. Jim S. Wallaby is in following Chairman J. Emmanuel Bernard Sumo. I will know how you get that chairman name probably, so you can tell I know because I got something that is related to connected to the Grand Bassa or Technical College. Maybe probably I didn't come to that question, but we'll go back to you. We'll go back to Emmanuel so you can be able to follow. The last person, Corwin Andrew is that Corwin Andrew is watching. Tantisa Dre is also watching from Turkey. Our brother from Cameroon is also watching. So we will go back to you, Mr. J. Emmanuel Banasumo, soon to be doctor, and so that you can be able to so that you can be able to go ahead with the question.
Okay, so back in LU, I was so passionate about structural mechanics, and that passion, what gave birth to that passion was there's a course in civil engineering known as strength of materials. Like all civil engineers know that. All civil engineers know that. So the first day of that course, the lecturer, Prof. David Jala, took his time to just give us an overview of what civil engineering is, because basically that course lays the foundation for successive courses in civil engineering. So from that day, I just fell in love with structural mechanics. You want to know, you want to see how stress travels from one part of a structure to the other. So when I completed civil engineering and then I had the chance to go and do a master's program, I decided to follow the trend of structure. So because the first year is basically coursework in a master's program. The second year in India, you simultaneously do coursework and your research. So I'm a summer research mentor. And then the first day we two of us met, I said, I'm interested in structural mechanics. So his question was, why are you interested in structural mechanics? And I was like, I want to build structures that are comparable to Roman structures, like design structures that are comparable to Roman structures. Because, some Roman structures that were built thousands of years ago still survive for our time. To the extent that you will see this meme on Facebook, say the Romans built these roads 2,000 years ago, they are still surviving. And then you see another meme where they show modern road with potholes, and then they blaming modern day engineers for it. So I was like, I want to design structures that will compete with Roman structures. So the next question was, but do you even know why our modern day structures fail? Is it because when we design our structures, you are a structural engineer, you are responsible for designing what we term as the scaling top. So you're responsible for designing, for putting together the steel, Then you put flesh around it, the concrete, so you form a beam, you form a column, you form a slab, you form a footing. If you don't protect the skeleton, what happens to the flesh? So you say, so imagine what human being when they extract the skeleton from you, what do you get? I say you get a bundle of flesh. You say, yeah, that's it. So if you're so passionate about preserving structures, then go into designing durable structures. And how do you design durable structures? You design durable structures by using the right kind of material. It was from that conversation that the passion for sustainable materials, sustainable and durable construction materials took root in my heart. And ever since then, I've been with sustainable and durable construction materials. So currently, my research is geared toward trying to find sustainable ways in which we can, since concrete is the foundation for our modern society. In fact, no matter where in the world you are, unless you're in a forest, if you're in some kind of city or in some kind of town, there is a very high likelihood that you are not more than 100 meters away from concrete. If you see a whole steel frame, it's very likely that the foundation of that steel frame, that concrete is dealing with. So since concrete is the foundation for our modern society, so that lecture series with that professor back then in India made me to get interested in trying to develop concrete. And that quest to develop concrete has led me to something very interesting. I remember back home, we would design our higher design strength for concrete back home will be after 28 days, you want your concrete to hit maybe 25 megapascal, 25 MPa concrete, 20 MPa concrete. But because of that conversation that I had with him, so I took up some time and decided, say, but I think if I know, because concrete is a composite construction material. In other words, it got more than one material in it. There's sand, there's cement, there's rock. So if I can thoroughly understand the interaction between these constituents of concrete, then I think I can form a correlation between the interaction, the fundamental interaction between these constituents of concrete and the ultimate performance of the concrete. And the more you understand that, the more you understand that chemistry, which is basically a branch of material science, the more you understand that chemistry, the better concrete you will make. And because of that, I've been able to make concrete. After 3 days, after the concrete cube, and after 3 days, you go test it, you get up to 40 MPa. That's like times 2 of what we can get after 28 days in Labrador. So that conversation has driven me to what is termed as high performance concrete. So I'm not only interested in the strength of concrete anymore, but I'm also interested in what we term as durability. Is a concrete durable? Because not all strong concretes are durable. A concrete can be very strong. Strength is just one of the criteria for concrete. So you can have a very strong concrete, but that very strong concrete may be very vulnerable to acid attack. It may be very vulnerable to environmental forces, such as weathering. It may be very vulnerable to abrasion. Maybe somebody can easily scratch the surface of that strong concrete. So that conversation with the professor ignited me in me a passion that is helping me to find a way in which we can design concrete that is both strong and durable. So the concrete will be very strong. We're getting 40 megapascal strength after 3 days. We keep the concrete after 3 days, we get to getting 40. And our concrete will also be durable. It will also be sustainable, because now, you know, the production of cement is one of the most important materials in concrete. The production of cement contributes to about 8% of global CO2 emission. And we know what happens when CO2 is emitted into the air. Our ozone layer is depleting, and so the issue of global warming is on the rampage. So environmentalists around the world are trying to find sustainable ways in which we can solve our problem. Same concrete is helping us to solve our problems. Let's find a sustainable way in which we can use this concrete to solve our problem. So in order to make the concrete sustainable. So we satisfy the issue of strength already. We are getting 40 megapascal strength at 3 days. We are getting 50 at somewhere around 14 days. And after 28 days, we're already 60 or 70 megapascal. That is a concrete that I only dream about when I was in Labrador. I only dream about that kind of concrete because you make concrete cube after 3 days, you go in the lab. After 28 days, you are even fighting to hit 20 megapascal or 25 megapascal. So we solved one of the problems. Now we are designing strong concrete. But what about the issue of sustainability? Because cement, which happens to be one of the predominant constituents in concrete, the production of cement is hazardous to our ozone layer. So one way in which we can solve that problem is to add what we term as supplementary cementitious material. So we take out some of the cement from the concrete and add something else that will enhance the concrete's property and stay out as concrete. And these things that we are adding, they are waste that will recycle from the environment. For example, in countries around the world, for example, in Kenya, yeah, people have experimented with what we term as sugarcane bagasse ash. The sugarcane you can chew. You go to the market, you buy sugarcane, you chew it. When you take the juice from it, that dirt that you chew down, that dirt, we can take it and burn it in form of ash. That ash can be a supplementary cementitious material. So as a result of the addition of that ash, we are reducing the amount of cement that we are using. And since we are reducing the amount of cement that we are using, we are to some extent reducing the amount of carbon dioxide that the production of cement sends out to our ozone layer. So sugarcane bagasse ash happens to be one of these supplementary cementitious materials. Another of them is what we term as the corn cob. You buy the corn, you chew the corn, that dirt that we can chew away. Engineers around the world have experimented with it, and they've proved that it's got some cementitious properties. So you take the corn cob, you burn it, you process it, and then you can use it as a supplementary cementitious material. So these are some of the innovations that engineers around the world are using to solve the issue of sustainability and durability in concrete. Because we are managing to achieve early strength, which happens to be one of the fundamental requirements of designing concrete. We're getting the strength, the high strength that we want. But are we getting the high strength at the expense of our environment? So then we are trying to answer that question by including waste materials that the environment says we don't want it one again. So we'll go back for those waste materials and incorporate them in our concrete. And we use them to enhance certain properties of our concrete and make our concrete stronger and greener so that all of us can live in our structures that we want, and then we can still breathe the quality of air that is healthy for our earth. So that's just an overview of some of the way Rachel asked a question about my relationship with structural engineering and how it has evolved over time. So currently my research is centered around sustainable construction materials as well. And just to throw a little light on that, one of the challenges that concrete has is what we term as macro cracks. It's MRCRO. There's smaller cracks that you can see with your unaided eye. That's one of the problems that concrete has. When macro cracks are formed, these macro cracks serve as inlets for chemicals, in fact, water and other chemicals to pass through the pores of the concrete and interact with the steel rebar that we got in the concrete. So that's one of our major problems, because when the chemicals pass through the macro cracks and interact with the steel, they corrode the steel, and when the steel gets corroded, it exerts pressure on the concrete, thereby making the concrete to crack. We don't want our concrete cracking. So as my research, I'm trying to introduce natural fibers. People have experimented with sisal fiber, something that looks like a giant pineapple. They take fiber from it and put it in concrete to take care of that issue of micro crack. They've experimented with cotton. The cotton are in the clothes that human can wear. They have extracted fibers from cotton and put it in concrete just to take care of that issue of micro crack. So we are looking for ways in which we can use materials that have been disposed, materials that have been neglected by society. We are looking for ways in which we can incorporate them in our concrete to give us our strength, give us our durability, and still save our environment. So that's why my research is focused on.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Before if Rachel having any follow-up question, I will come back to you, Rachel. Let me read the remaining comments. Then if Rachel don't have any follow-up question, I'll go to Madison. But the questions here God gave saying wow, and Devin P. Brown is saying I'm following from my Popo corner in Bannonville, and what so this is a question. I'm going to keep this question. I think it's too early to take question from the comment section. Noreen Shedra is saying strong man, and James S. Wallaby is saying chairman. Okay, so this one is also a question. I'm going to also keep that. I will go back there. I will also give that question. Don't worry. It's not time to take question from the live. So Josephine will have to protect our guests too. Josephine T Sigo saying I don't know if I'm mispronouncing her last name, but it's Josephine. She's saying Botswana. She's in Botswana listening in from the PAU Scholar, Institute of Basic Science, Technology and Innovation. Men G Bakon is saying J Emmanuel Benasmo, and also he say I am watching from Dugo Road, Liberia. Godfewer Idu Masako is saying I'm closely watching from Hungary and I am a man, not a woman. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for clarifying this. I thought you were, I think I know someone from Hungary that is doing engineering. It should be Godfewer. Someone told me about a librarian in Hungary. I think it should be you. So God gave is also watching from Dugoro Coffee Junction. Dr. Mahmoud Dukle is following from Phoebe Hospital, Swakoko Township, Bon County. And so these are the comments so far, so good. And God give is so inspired by when you say you can use corn. That is so. I'm going to come to that the issue of the non-hazardous material, because I also working on non-hazardous material as a chemistry student. And when you talk about non-hazardous material, friendly, environmental friendly material, this is something that we're all working towards to improve the environment too. And it's something that when I hear you saying you also research on something like how you can be able to do work on macro. You talk something about macro or
Crack. Macro crack.
Yeah, crack. Yes, crack to repair macro crack or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm actually happy to hear this. And also we have Sergio saying people are feeding plastic bottles. So we're going to come to that question about this question waiting. And Umo about the things I'm watching from Nimba County. Umo is just kidding. Umo is watching from a different kind of country around Europe. I don't know, but she's not watching from Nimba. So I'm going to go to Rachel. Rachel, do you have any question to ask?
Yes. I want to
Yeah,
know
so-
what
So is it a follow-up question or a second question? If it's not follow, then we'll go to Madison and come back to you.
second question.
Second question, you want us to go to Madison and come back, or you want to ask because you're the only
Well,
female
ask
here.
the question, you can go to Madison. Please.
Okay, so you can ask. Okay.
Okay.
So you can. Like the only female, so you can go ahead.
Yeah, ladies before
What
gents.
What are some of the most rewarding aspects of studying and pursuing career in structural engineering? I want to know.
Well, my answer is going to be a little biased because I'm already a structural engineer, so obviously I can't say anything against it. But I know that the world needs structural engineer, no matter where you live, even countries that are already developed. Because even the building that I will finish building that we're living in, as time goes by, they will deteriorate, they will get problems. So we need structural engineers to repair them. And if you want to appreciate what structural engineers do, every time you're in a car and the car crosses a bridge, tell a structural engineer thank you if you fall in the water. If you are in an elevator, the elevator takes you from the ground floor to maybe the 11th floor of a building, tell a structural engineer thank you. If you live on the 11th floor of a building, you are suspended. You are there. You're living way up and you're looking at the ground. Tell a structural engineer, thank you. If you're in a country that experiences wind, there's a very high wind, and wind can be what are you in for them? Tell a structural engineer, thank you. They put a lot of effort into making sure that when the wind comes, your horse not fall down. Into making sure that when you pass over the bridge, you and your car ain't fall down in the water. All these things are just some of the things that structural engineers do. But the thing about it is, they're complex. Some people don't seem to pay attention to them. You know, in life, we don't seem to pay attention to the things, the ubiquitous things, the things that are like almost you experience every day. You living horse in a skyscraper, you passing over a bridge, you taking photos at very beautiful in around very beautiful building. Every time you do that, you post a Facebook photo and in the back of it, you see one little nearest building. Tell a structural engineer, thank you. So that's the kind of work that we do. So every day you walk around with a fulfillment that you are saving lives. So I always make this joke. I would say when a team of doctors converge in the operation room for hours and save one person, the whole team is celebrated. But when 10 persons in car and they pass over the bridge not fall down. Nobody don't get down for structural engineer. But the time the problem can come, that when structural engineer design one thing and something happened. Just recently, I heard about, I think District 15, they said there was the school collapsed. The Ministry of Public Works sent a team there. So that one, even the man who didn't go to school at all will be passing and be giving the engineer talk. So people, when they tend to appreciate what we do when one of our structures fail, but when they enjoy every day, they don't appreciate it. So as a structural engineer, you live with the fulfillment that every day you are saving lives. Now, not the doctor in the operation room, but the fact that somebody is in the horse can fall down, that you saving a life. But it's so common, so people don't appreciate it. But it's complex. There's a lot of work that go behind the scene. So like a building, like the building you're in, the structural engineer will use computer models to design our building. You design it, then you start to think, you say, what the worst thing that can ever happen to the building? Okay, let's assume plenty of heavy wind will come. Then you do what we term about the wind tunnel analysis. You blow wind on our building. You blow wind and get what we term about the critical wind factor. The wind I will show that building and then start imagining again. Is it all possible for the kind of wind to come? Because we are trying to balance the issue of serviceability, the issue of safety, and even budget, because we are against budget. So you got to take all the kind of small things into consideration. So he will know, he has to reach a point where he know what time the building will fall down. Before he even stand the building all, you know what time it will fall down. What thing will happen to him when he in what we term as the service life. So he does all this analysis, we term it as the life cycle assessment. He does all that analysis before the building is even built. So if you want to say what structural engineers do, so if you are a structural engineer, you live a fulfilled life every day.
John, we'd like to welcome our colleague John from Uganda. John is a renewable engineer. And today we don't have, we have the municipal engineer who is always with us, Edwin Olu Besman from Malaysia. He's probably having some urgency. Maybe probably he's going to join us to make the conversation more fun for us. But, you know, then when I agree with you when you say science, I want to say science, I don't want to say engineering. You know, when you say science is life. Because whether you are studying engineering and whether you are a doctor or engineer or whether you are a biology on the land fighting for diseases, fighting COVID or whether be a COVID or epidemic. I mean, what makes science more unique is saving life, because we cannot do anything. You can know your entire economics theory, Karl Marx, all this kind of theory and stuff, Adam Smith. I mean, you need the engineer. Those buildings that you are presenting those beautiful theories in, and you need them to be able to design. They design most of the structure. Yeah, I remember when I remember doing the earthquake in Turkey, and the last earthquake last year. And I was like, imagine when those buildings were shaking. I was in one of the buildings when it was shaking, like almost like you riding seesaw. like this,
See that?
And some of the engineers, some of the building who dropped, some of the engineers were sued for it. They sued them for it that, like, because people sued them, took them to court because they didn't they did design. But this is nature. I was like, but this is nature. This is not the engineer. But they still took some of those guys to court because they
So
cost owner,
Richard,
the
you
host
see that?
property, the
That's one of the things.
property owners say,
That is one of the things
the
that
property,
make structural engineering unique. You are against the forces of
yeah,
nature. A man expect you to
yeah,
predict how nature will behave and take care of it in your calculations.
yeah.
So nobody
So I
will
was
hear
like,
you.
why hold this guy, this person, this individual responsible for this kind of, this is something that we didn't know about. We just woke up one morning and saw the buildings dropping down, and so I started in my corner and said, okay, this is what we call science. So as a scientist, you have to learn how to prevent future things from happening. And so, and that's why we have engineers, structural engineers, and have people selling earthquake and stuff like that, how to prevent those things building from dropping like that. And I was like, wow, this is very good. And I agree with you. Science as a whole is so unique that we as a country in Liberia, this is a opportunity for us to be able to seize it. Invest in people like Emmanuel that is talking a whole lot, and this is taking engineering from different dimension. It's my first time since I started doing. I'm a scientist, but every time I wanted to hear this in my field, talking about environmental friendly material and engineer using this material to be able to work on macro cracks on buildings. It's something that was very much amazing. These are a lot of questions in life here that if you wanted to ask, some of the people are asking. I'll go to
Okay.
Madison, then Madison will be able to ask this question because that's the protocol to the show. We like to take questions from most of our panelists, then we read the comments before we can be able to
That's it.
ask an
That's
additional.
fine. That's fine.
Madison, you
So
can.
Mohammed, I think I don't know what is happening to my device. Whenever I'm above 1 hour, every time we are on the show, my device starts to go off and on. I don't know why. But I have so many questions for Mr. Bernard Sumo. So let me start asking since my device is okay now. Mr. Sumo, from your
Yeah.
explanation, I actually get to understand that engineers are currently using environmental friendly material integrated them into engineering for durability and sustainability. So my
That's it.
question is basically based on soil. Though I'm not an engineering student, but I'm of the conviction that the soil type may play a pivotal role on the durability of a structure. So how do we intend making that very clear to me? Is there any importance of the soil type on the structure you build in an environment?
Obviously, Madison. The thing is, until structural engineers develop the ability to suspend or hang their structures, they will always need soil. So we need soil. And that is why as a structural engineer, it's a matter of must that you have an in-depth understanding of the different types of soil and the way they interact with your structure. Because if you don't know that, at the end of the day, your structure, that farm building that you design is going to rest on the soil. So if you don't know what we term as soil structure interaction, how the structure interacts with the soil and how the soil interacts with the structure. If you don't understand that scenario and design the part of the building that you must can see, what is termed as the substructure, the one that on the ground. It is your understanding of the soil that will help you to design your structure, the foundation of the structure. And your question brings up something very interesting. I actually want to go a little deeper into concrete because some of my guys want to know this whole secret behind designing high performance concrete. So I'll go a little deep into it. But let me just answer your question. One of the adverse effects that the soil that will bury our structures in, one of the adverse effects that it has on the structure is what we term as sulfate attack. The soil has sulfate in it. So, and most of the time, the part of the building that we can bury, it can be made of concrete. So that sulfate can attack the concrete and weaken it. And when it weakens it, it allows for ingress of materials that will interact with the steel, the embedded steel. Because all the civil engineers that are listening to us now know that the most prominent construction material in the world is reinforced concrete. So that's a composite material. We are combining concrete and steel. Why? We are tapping on the abilities of both of them. Concrete is strong in compression. In other words, when you try to press concrete at it, concrete can resist it. Concrete strong in resisting the other kind of force. We try to push on it at it. But if you try to pull concrete apart, which is tension, concrete not able to other force. But then there's another man who can help concrete to take care of that force. It's what we term as the steel. So that's where the issue of reinforced concrete comes into play. So we are combining two of them and leveraging their strengths. Concrete is strong in compression, steel is strong in tension. So we combine the two of them and leverage their strength and get the best out of them. But while they are together, that concrete is playing dual role. It's taking care of the compression. It's also taking care of it's serving as like a protective layer for the steel. Because the steel, even the air hit the steel can get corroded. So that concrete is playing dual role. So the better you design that concrete, the safer the steel in the concrete gets. So when we are building structures, we also take that into consideration. So structural engineers must have an in-depth understanding of the various soil, the nature of various soil, and how they interact with structures.
Wow, Martin, do you have any follow-up question to ask? Then we can go to John. John will ask his question, and then we'll go to the live to take some of those questions on the live. Then we'll come back to studio. Yes.
Mohammed, I have another interesting question. Like you earlier spoke on the issue about earthquake. We in Turkey, we are on a daily basis experiencing earthquake. Our buildings are shaking and we are running outside for survival sometimes. I have a friend. He's a Liberian. He's in another dormitory here in my city. Okay. And then the guy told me that whenever we are having earthquake in Turkey here, because our city is kind of like an earthquake zone, the guy said their dormitory is kind of like built such a way that it is earthquake resistant. I was like, wow. So it means when earthquake is taking place, they don't even worry because their building is kind of like earthquake resistant. So Imana Sumo, how you engineer do that? I mean, can you please let us understand how can an engineer build a structure that will be earthquake resistant?
Okay, good. So engineers are now building earthquake resistant structures. And fortunately, that's one of the last courses that I did in master's program. That was one of the last courses. Design of earthquake resistant structures. So what happened is there's something known as base isolation. And we agree that we can bury the foundation of the building under the ground.
Yes, sure.
And we agree with that one. We are burying the foundation of the building under the ground. So and the earthquake will take place in the ground. So we tend to isolate the superstructure, the part of the building that people are living in. We tend to isolate from the part of the building that the earthquake will affect. Then we use something called shock absorber to connect the two of them. We call it base isolator. So there will be something like a shock absorber that will connect the building. So the foundation is here, the building is here, and there's a connection between the two of them. But that connection, when there's an earthquake, because when the ground shakes, the foundation is going to shake. When the foundation shakes, it transfers that movement to the building. But the connector that between the foundation and the building will serve as a shock absorber and absorb that shock that the earthquake produces. So the people that live in the building, they don't see anything. The same thing is applied in the tallest building in the world right now, the Burj Khalifa. The Burj Khalifa is 828 meters high. In the Burj Khalifa, the remaining 25% of it, nobody living there. They get something called damper. Because in Dubai, the wind, the sandstorm that in Dubai is it. So what engineers did, they knew that if they were going to leave the building, that every time there's a wind, there will be problem. So they put something called tomb mass damper at the very top of the building. So when the wind blowing the building away, the damper, which is a very heavy weight, will go in the opposite direction to balance the force that the wind putting on the building. So the building keeps standing, it doesn't fall down. So you push the bearing away, the damper comes in the opposite direction and cancels out the force that you're applying to push the bearing this way. So there are earthquake resistant structures. Ones, because they are very expensive, they are only applied in very important buildings. Like very important hospitals, like maybe the executive mansion, these very important buildings that you can afford to lose. But other buildings that we don't have money to make earthquake resistant, we can build it in a way that when earthquake occurs, there can be what we term as abrupt collapse. The collapse will be progressive. And that progressive collapse is meant for people like you who live in a hostel to escape the hostel before the building fall down. So you see, just like when the Titanic was drowning, right? And people had the opportunity to leave. So it's not happening suddenly. So if we not get money to build earthquake resistant structures, we can build structures that will not fall down straight when earthquake happen. It will fall down, but it will take time so that we can evacuate those who were in the building. So that's another way of designing structures as well. Because when the building is very important, we don't want to spend that amount of money to bring that technology to make it earthquake resistant. So we do a kind of design that allows for progressive collapse. We evacuate the residents of the building, then the building fall down. We can still build again, but the idea we want to save lives.
Wow. You know, this is something, this question Madison was asking are so dear to me a lot because meaning the last question Mr. Sumo just answered is something that is very interesting. But I'll go to John Satamba. John is with us from Uganda. John, if you are there, you can unmute yourself and say something. If probably you want to say something, if you don't have question, then we'll come back to you for the second time of question. But do you have any question to ask, John? Engineer John, are you there? Oh, I think John is now with us. Maybe probably in doing something or probably in facing an internet problem. But he's going to join us. So I will take the questions from some of the questions from the live. These are important because the questions are getting more. And the first question, I'm going to take the first question. Yeah, and see, I'm going to put on the screen and read so that we all can see. The first question is from Jim S. Wallaby. He's saying, Chairman, can you help expand my knowledge by giving your analysis on the below two questions? What is the purpose of a drainage system in a building? What is the difference between a rigger frame and a cantilever frame? Something like that. So it's on the screen. Maybe probably you can
Yeah,
that's
so
the first question.
I see it very well.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
But before the chairman can come in, and we'll beg you a little bit so that you can be able to be a little bit because the questions are many on the live, and so that you can be able to attend most of the questions from them. We can be biased. Thank you so much.
Okay. So the first thing is, Deme is interested in drainage system. He's talking about rigid frame and cantilever frame. I'm afraid, but the discussion is strictly on sustainable construction materials. So please, James Waluba, your question about cantilever frame and rigid frame, I will answer it personally between you and myself. Let's keep the time for questions related to sustainable construction material, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you so much, Emmanuel. James, if you are there, if you are watching, we may know him. You can, I believe, for you, Mr. Sumo is someone who is open. Just look up for a Facebook handle. Yeah, his Facebook handle, and then you get to him. So let's take Darvin P. Brown question. Darvin will say, "Oh, okay, this is not question already. Is it question? Okay, I'm falling from my purple corner. Yes, he said this is question. And so, what are the ways of identifying hard strength concrete from a weak strength concrete?" That's Darvin question.
Okay. So they want it straightforward. High strength concrete and weak concrete. Why are we even designing the concrete in the first place? We're designing this concrete because we want the concrete to take load. So we design the concrete for, let's say, 30 MPa load, 30 megapascal load. and the concrete can't take that low, automatically we know that our concrete is a weaker concrete as compared to our criteria for designing it. So we know that. And just to show further light, one of the reasons, one of the problems that we have with our concrete, which is very cardinal, that when we solve, we tend to solve most of the problems that confront our concrete is the issue of the water cement ratio. That is something that every civil engineer that listening to me know. So the water cement ratio is what makes the paste, the gel that binds the constituents of the concrete together. But that water cement ratio, let's look at it like something like a juice. Imagine you buy, I'm not say juice, because in that case, let's say you buy stout or you buy beer. You put the beer in a glass, and then you start putting water in the beer. The more water you put, what are you doing? You are diluting the beer. And the more you dilute the beer, what happens? The alcohol content in the beer reduces. So back when we go to more construction site, you hear the technician, the laborer saying, put more water. Water can make concrete strong. And that is the exact opposite to the reality. Water doesn't make concrete strong. Most, like up to 70% of the problem that concrete faces comes from water. So the more water you add, so every time somebody wants to tell you, they add more water to the concrete, just remember the illustration. You have a glass of beer. When you put more water, you made the beer strong. Of course, you not made the beer strong. You made the beer weak. So that paste, the paste that binds the aggregate, the sand, the rock, that paste, because when you add water to the cement, it forms a paste, like a kind of greenish color paste. It's that paste that binds the aggregates together. So if you keep adding water, in a sense, you are diluting the paste. And when you dilute the paste, you reduce the strength, you reduce the concentration. Just as when you put water in a beer, you reduce the concentration of the beer. And then let's also learn to use water for the intended purpose. Why do we add water to concrete? We add water to concrete so that the water can make the cement to hydrate. It is through the hydration process that a chemical reaction between the water and the cement takes place, thereby forming what we term as the bonding or the cementing properties. But one of the mistakes we can make back home is you put the cement, you put the sand, you put the rock and the water, that the last thing you put is wrong. It's very wrong. If you've been preparing concrete like that, you are wrong. The first thing that you interact with the water is the thing that need the water the most. And what is that? It is the cement. So in contemporary concrete maze design, you put the water first, followed by the cement, because it is the cement that needs the water to hydrate. The chemical reaction is between the cement and the water. But if you pour the sand, you pour the rock, you pour the cement before you add water, you know how many things competing for the water now? The cement is there competing for the water, the sand is there competing for the water, and the rock is there competing for the water. So you have three constituents competing for the water that is only enough to hydrate your cement. Because you know the rock will absorb some of the water, the sand will absorb some of the water. So the balanced water that will lead that you use for hydration. So you have unfinished hydration. So most of our cement back home, we can't get high strength because we don't properly hydrate the cement. We do it the wrong way. So James, instead of us talking about structural mechanics here, I will answer your question. Yeah, James, you know, James asked about structural mechanics. The first question.
Okay.
So James, instead of us talking about structural mechanics here, let's save the structural mechanics question. I'll answer that personally. But let's know that we need high strength concrete, because when we have a very high strength concrete, the first thing that will happen is we'll reduce our structural members. We'll not have big beams again. We'll not have big columns. We'll not have very thick slab again, because the concrete strong. The concrete strong will get steel in it. So we can reduce our structural members now and save construction cost and save time.
You know, for me, I have a lot of questions today. And, you know, ranging from the issue of the I mean, because I don't look at the Liberian contest, that West Point issue. I'm sure before even Emmanuel can leave, we're going to talk about the West Point issue, the concrete issue at West Point. Certain point in time, I saw a post from one engineer. He's also a mentor to me, or Moniru Yen. I think you know Moniru Yen from Germany. So he did something about that, and I've been wishing to grab him on the show. We've been on the rack and roll, and very busy person. And I know I'm so happy to have someone around that area a little bit. I'm going to be talking about this. And someone who is left out because from your explanation. But I will take one more question from the live, and then the other questions I will keep them and go back to John. John is just joining us, and maybe have a question to ask. You ask his question, then I will take two more questions and get back to ask my question and get back to Rachel, so that if Rachel have any question, she can also ask. So we have another question from Noreen Shedra, and he's saying people are filling plastic bottles with stain to build horses. I watch it on social media over and over. I was thinking water is advisable. So
Of course it
it's like
is. Of course it's
yeah. So this
advisable. But the thing is, you know, we're trying to recycle plastic. We're trying to recycle plastic and make it a sustainable construction material. My research in India, I use what we term as FRP rebars. Not the kind of steel rod that we know. That steel rod, but this steel rod is made of plastic. So people are trying to recycle plastic. But if they're using plastic bottle for structural application, then it's a problem. But if they're using it for walls, then it's not a problem. I always tell people we are already challenged with fan assets in lab work. Then every time we want to build us, we want to use cement. We won't use cement black. From my experience, the black really doesn't matter. Look at most of the places on the Torment Boulevard. You will see that they will be able to as the concrete frame, as in Jim's question, the question that James asked. They will be the concrete frame. You see the column standing, you see the slab, the spaces are there, right? When they finish with that, then masons come and just lay the black. So instead of going to buy cement black, why can't buy my dead black for $20 and just put it in that space? So I already, because the thing is, unless you design a wall as a low carrying wall or a low bearing wall, the wall not carrying any low. In fact, the wall are extra low on the structure. You know, like in the developed countries, you see that most high-rise building, the people can use black, they use glass, right?
Yeah,
sure. And you know that glass lighter than the black. So that black is just adding additional weight on the structure. So if you have a very good concrete frame in place, of course you can use anything for a partition, as long as it's secure enough and it takes care of the issue of noise absorption, heat absorption, because you got to take all these things into consideration. You don't want to use something where when heat touches it just pass through, it can't in the hot and the hot hot too. So when hot are hot, inside will be cold. So people are experimenting with plastic bottles, they're filling it with sand and using it as walls.
So for me, structure is not advisable.
You can fill plastic bottles and use it as a beam. You can fill sand in plastic bottle and use it as a column. You can do that. In fact, there are even advanced technology where people using black, concrete black. They're using it as slab. It's known as beam slab technology. They're using black, the concrete black that we can use for wall. They're using it as slab. So it's possible. It's very possible that people, I too have seen a video, I've not seen it physically, but I've seen people use the filled plastic bottles with sand, they're using it for walls in buildings, like residential buildings. I haven't seen it in a story building. And I'm sure Noreen Shedra hasn't seen it in a story building.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. You know, the questions are so many. This is the first time, let me just confirm on this platform that we're seeing these kind of questions coming in. Very good. I'm very, very sure we're going to take all of this question. But I'll go to our colleague, which is John Tamba. John is a renewable engineer, renewable expert. John, you can come in. You are breaking in, John.
Okay, so sorry.
Okay. Yeah, you say coming, bro. We're not getting you clear. You have
Okay.
to be a little bit audible. Yeah.
You getting me clear?
Yeah, we get you now.
Yeah, so for me, my question real world impact. I want to know, as a structural engineer, uh, we have an issue of climate change surrounding us right now. So I want to know how can we uh, how can we address climate change and promoting sustainability on a structural engineering perspective? How can we
Okay.
tackle climate change while promoting sustainability at the same time?
Okay. So John, I think that's one of the things I said from the beginning. So one of the ways that
Now,
engineers, the engineering society, one of the ways in which we are contributing to the issue of sustainability. So we use materials that are energy intensive in terms of preparing them. For example, steel, cement, sand, rock. These things are very energy intensive, and they also lead to what we term as resource depletion. For example, when you take the sand from here, you not a gone. So to take care of all these things, engineers, structural engineers, are coming up with innovative ways to solve our problems and stay being sustainable. So I mentioned the issue of incorporating what we term as sugarcane bagage ash. I mentioned the issue of incorporating corn cob ash. There's also the issue of rice husk ash. You make your farm, you harvest the rice, you clean it, that dirt that you clean from the rice. We can also use that dirt to make supplementary cementatious material and add it to concrete. So that's way in which civil structural engineers are supporting sustainability. And then when we design high performance concrete are very strong, our structural members will reduce. And because they are reducing, we will require less material. Because we are requiring less material, the amount of cement that is produced will start dropping, thereby having a positive impact on our ozone layer. Besides, we are also experimenting what we term as carbon capture and storage. I don't know who here has heard the term sequestration. So we capture carbon and we save it in the seedbed. And the fact that we are incorporating biomaterials in our structures is also a means of capturing and storing carbon. So nowadays, concrete is not a threat anymore. Before then, concrete was a threat because the production of cement was hazardous. It was emitting a lot of CO2. But nowadays, we are finding innovative ways, things that can substitute concrete and clean our environment. So concrete now, we are using concrete to capture and store carbon by incorporating biomaterials in it.
Wow. Folks, if you are just tuning in, we'd like to say this is watching Science in Society. We always here on Tuesday and Friday, and we are here with J. Emmanuel Banasumo, Rachel Taylor is here, John Satamba, Madison T. Goyon is here. We are always here on Tuesday and Friday, bringing you discussing issues related to our community when it comes to science. And uh, our guest here with us, J. Emmanuel Banasumo, PhD student, PhD candidate at the Jomo Kenyatta University Institute of Basic Science and Technology, and also a PAU scholar, Pan African scholar here with us. And so, John, do you have any other question to ask? And we'll go. I take one question from the other live and go back to Rachel. Do you have any other question to ask, John? Any follow-up question? John is away. So when you come back, then so on the other live we have a question from Tolita To from India. She said, I'm falling from India. My question uh are there any specific reinforcement strategies like a rubber placement or fiber reinforcement to enhance structure integrate integrated,
Integrity.
something like that. Integrated. She said something like that. Yes.
So I believe she's asking about alternative reinforcement materials.
Yes,
So
that's what she asked.
in the production of steel is energy intensive. It leads to resource depletion. So engineers are experimenting with things that can replace steel. But one of the challenges that we have is the scalability, the widespread acceptance of these things. How people will accept it. That's some of the challenges we're having. So like I said, my research was done with FRP rebars. They're not steel rods, but they are reinforcement materials made of plastic. People are experimenting with baboon, like the reef that we get back home. People are using it as reinforcement. So there are alternative reinforcement, but there is the issue of trust. You must say no, human beings in our nature to be comfortable with what we know, what we trust. So if the man used to the kosher, the man can go there and elect their taste. To make that man to change that taste is a challenge. So the world is used to using steel. They started using steel since the invention of the basement process. It's been around for years. So they're comfortable with it, they trust it. So diverting them from something that they trust to something that they don't trust is a challenge. So most engineering inventions, the challenge is scaling it to a bigger market. But people are experimenting with it at different levels. Smaller projects, people are experimenting with it. Like the reinforced concrete that there was no steel rebar in it. It was made of rebars that was made of plastic FRP rebars.
So let me just go back to the last question, then maybe probably Rachel is getting ready. So this question is from Zed Joshua D. and he's saying macro cake. I wish you could expand on macro cake. Crack, not cake, sorry, crack, macro crack. I wish you could expand on that subject a little more, Chairman. That's what he's saying.
Okay, good.
So
yeah. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so probably if it's kind of about too long, I can come back. I'll remember him, and then you can be able to find a way in your closing. After we take the next panel question, then you answer his question.
Okay.
So Rachel, do you have any other question to? Yeah, do you have any other question to ask? So go around a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So you were talking about but the safety concerning the occupant of the building. You are talking about how budget play a major role in, building a structure for prolonged news. So yes, like I was watching a documentary, I think about South Korea, where an entire war came down on the people and killed a lot of people, and it was the fault from the owner, because the company told him that we need certain amount of money to build this place, and then including the payload, the materials, steel, other things. But because he wanted to cut down budget, he said no. And then since the company was a respectable company, they told him they can't be part of this project. And when you found one Bagaya company that built the structure for him, and it came down and it took a lot of lives. So I was like, at first I didn't have any idea on how civil engineer play a major role in providing safety of buildings, bridges, and whatsoever. So my question is, so everything, what are some of the advices you will be able to give out to aspiring and students that want to pursue a career in civil engineering?
Okay. So I think it's the issue of ethics. You mentioned two companies. The first company, which was very ethical, they knew that the standard of work that was needed, the money that this client was bringing for, couldn't do the work as far as the standard requirements were concerned. So the issue of ethics has a part to play, because especially as a young person, you don't want to mortgage your career for one project. Because just like I said, every day engineers keep people alive. But if one of the projects fail, it takes the hairline. In the same vein, if you have a very young career, it is your responsibility to protect it. Because just one mistake is just enough to ruin your career. So I think the issue of ethics, because it's not an easy thing. You just from school, you want money, you want work, and then the first project comes, you and the man try to balance it. But you won't let it go because you have a dream life to live. You want money as well. So there can be this temptation to tend to slide ethics under the table and go for bad work. But that is not good, because in the end, it's gonna haunt you. Especially in developed countries. In some places they even revoke your license. Imagine you go to school for years and then your license gets revoked. You can't pursue a new career at that age anymore. So imagine the frustration that comes as a result of it. So I think being ethical, having a career path, knowing what you want will help you in the process. Because it's not just about the math, the science. That's okay. That's everybody gets that. Anyone who goes to engineering school will somehow manage to upgrade themselves to understand the calculation and everything else. But what sets you apart is your relationship with prospective clients.
Emmanuel, before I go to the next of the panel, also the next panelist, Libero actually need you so much. Libero need you, and I feel so happy when I see you speaking, when I see you discussing things that are so much that we need to do in back home, Libero.
You already get plenty structural engineering, like bro.
No, but Libero still need you with the population we have. I have some funny. My questions are a little bit funny, but my questions are I'm reading through people's mind, the common people's mind. I'm not really thinking because I want to be bold to ask this question. Like you say in your opening, you work before you try doing some contract with the public work ministry. How connected are you with the ministry? Is people in the ministry still thinking about you? That Emmanuel says, because this thing happen when you leave from the country, they don't even have time for you again anymore. They feel that you're going to go back and take that job. And I know people have already started saying to you that boy want to act like he I don't know what he want to prove. He want to do PhD. I know this, that people look down people, and they think even if you want to do the extraordinary thing to make your country proud, they make you think that you are doing the wrong thing. How are the people thinking about you? How are they constantly communicating with you?
I think my case is a little different. I used to work in the bridge unit at the Ministry of Public Works under the supervision of the chief engineer of the Republic of Liberia, Mr. Kayi Bodolo. We still have a very good relationship. In fact, when this opportunity came, he's one of the persons that I discussed it with. And he was very plain. He said, you still have age in your favor, go for this program. So like week in, week out, we talk. If I go 2 weeks and I talk to him, maybe I'm held down by activities, you call my man, how the program going? I think just 2 days ago, him and I were chatting. I think on Saturday, him and I were chatting on Saturday. Yeah, so we have a very great relationship, and that's something that I appreciate so dearly. So my case is a little different.
Emmanuel, the next question I get to ask before I go to Malaysia, this I don't know, maybe so crazy, but I just want to ask. Whenever I'm quite recent time out in Liberia, and comparing the life here or in abroad, and also comparing to Liberia, sometimes when I'm working, when I see this building, looking at the country that is from we fought war before, and I'm like thinking like a child. Let me say that way. My brain is like, because sometimes speaking to engineers, even people who are policymakers, how can we change the mindset of people from coming from those kind of ugly structure we have in Central Monrovia and going to the new ones? Do you think we'll really defeat the kind of thing? Do you think like our city Monrovia will be improving in the future like that, or what kinds of advice do you have for government Because recently we saw the people in the horse. We saw, because I mean, I'm like being so passionate about Liberia that when will this improve? Because every time we keep saying we're improving, but if I go down waters, I still see people putting deck in the street. We're doing the same kind of thing over and over. Even though we're talking about the change of mindset, but recently we were saying, our lawmakers were saying we should try and move to have new capital city. I think someone was trying to propose something like that. What are some of the mechanisms can we put in place as well? As a professional person, giving your own sincere advice of Liberian, professional Liberian out there.
I think most of our problems are actually tied to the mindset. We've got good laws on the book. There are good policies, but implementation is a challenge. To the extent that you and myself back home, the thing that we can take back home, when we come to other people's countries, we fall in line. So I think our problem is basically about the mindset.
Wow.
Back home, when you eat a biscuit, there is a temptation to drop the plastic just anywhere. But that's something that I can't do in the studio of Nairobi. I can't do that. So I think our problem is not really technical. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I told them that we have gravitated above the issue of manpower deficiency. Nowadays, if you check across Liberia, you even go home, they allow young people with master's degree. I know a lot. Our transportation sector is struggling. I know like 3-4 very close men who got master's degree in transportation. They are unemployed. Our transportation sector is struggling. So we don't have manpower deficiency anymore. Every profession you think about in Liberia, there is a Liberian that's got an advanced education in it, or there is one that is already in the process. So manpower not our issue again. We don't need experts again to solve our problems. We have people with the technical know-how. We have people with the technical expertise to do what is right. We just need to implement our policies that we have on the book. When I went to do structure, you could literally count all the structural engineers in Liberia. But nowadays, they're plenty. We're very plenty. So Liberian short of structural engineer, Liberian short of transportation engineer, we're not short of economists, we're not short of anybody. We have everything that it takes to build Liberia. We just need to put our policies in action instead of just having them on paper.
Thank you for answering this question. And I know moving forward, I think we have to and this is the essence of people who are watching. If you are just watching, don't just come here to watch and go. We advise that you share the live, and also from the last statement Emmanuel just made, let's try to change our mindset, and try to do the needful for our country, because we can keep saying, everything can be the government, everything can be the government. We can keep look out a kind of a perfect front view and be sitting around and say government like you're gonna do this and something. I think we need to have some policy in place so that we can keep people like Emmanuel at work. Yes, they have to be at work to make our city so beautiful. And so we will go to Maisi, you have any other questions? I should take 2 questions from the live video.
And Mohammed, I think let me ask my last question. Since I'm still live, let me ask my last question.
The question will start to dive into the question. There are many here, and so I'm going to go to them, reserving them. They are even making our work here for us, and so you can ask your question.
Yeah. So Mohammed, Mr. Bernard Sumo explanation is kind of bringing, how do you call it, engineering, in a very close or broad aspect. So I want to ask a question concerning the impact of engineering, structural engineering on society. Basically, under this scope, like the environment, life and safety, we want to look at economic growth. How do structural engineering tend to impact the aspect of society, environment, life and safety, and that of economic growth?
Okay, so let's look at the issue of infrastructure. Are you aware that because the road from Ganta to Lugatuo is paved, there is an increase in trade activities along that route now. So the next section of that road that is supposed to be built by the Ivorian government comes from Logato Bolo to Danale. If that road is paved, because I know from Danale to Abidjan a paved road. So if you connect that corridor, you are subconsciously activating economic activities in that area. Let's take it the other way around. The road from Lofa to Banga, if you completely pave that road, farmers will be able to easily bring their produce to town to sell. And because you have more farmers bringing their produce to town, there will be a lot of options to pick from. Because you myself know from the principle of demand supply down in secondary school, when supply increases, I mean they have this kind of inverse relationship. So if you have a lot of people bringing goods, prices will drop. Even the issue of food security that we're struggling with. But you can only have these things when there is the issue of infrastructural development in terms of road connectivity. You can build road without structural engineers. What that you have bridges. Mohammed was talking about the issue of laying out the city. The building that you will do. Okay, now I think the last time I checked, they said there was some demolition done around 540 for the construction of the firewall that is being financed by the Chinese government. Of course, that's structural engineer. So I know that the city you see firewalls on a daily basis, and you know how they beautify our cities, right? Yeah. When I go to Nairobi, these are some of the things I'll be looking at. I'm on the bus and I'm just looking through the window, looking at flowers, and it looks so good. But for all the idea, you just get the idea in your head. But we are yet to reach a point where we start to implement them. So that's structural engineering. Okay, so I know you're a sport person. That's my assumption. Every average young person gets maybe you're talking about Chelsea fans. I don't know what you mean. You saying. So imagine a situation where we'll get like stadium, right? We'll get like 2 or 3 scattered across Liberia. We can go to one host African Cup of Nations. On host African Cup of Nations, you know why countries fight to host these tournaments? Because the economic boom that it brings. You host in African Cup of Nations, I mean all the hotels, the tourism, like it booms the economy. So all these things, structural engineering is deeply enshrined in the development of a nation. You can't develop a nation without infrastructure. And structural engineering is the center of the infrastructural development. If you're building road, obviously you meet obstacles, you meet railroad. How you cross the railroad? If you don't get structural engineer to build bridge across the railroad. So they are interwoven, they are intertwined. You can't distinguish them.
Wow. Madison, any other follow question to that?
No, I'm satisfied for now. It is clear. It's been made clear.
So I will go to the live video and then after that I'll go back to Rachel. And so on the live here, I see Joshua is saying earlier macro crack. I wish you could expand on that subject a little more. And so macro crack.
Okay. So normally what happens is when we make concrete, Joshua is aware that concrete is a composite material. In other words, it's made of more than one material. It gets sand, it gets cement, it gets rock, and then it gets water. So we add these are the 4 primary constituents. Nowadays, we add something called admixtures. They're chemicals to improve certain characteristics of the concrete. If you want the concrete to set faster, that you're working on the range, you want the concrete to set faster, you are accelerating admixture. If you want the concrete to take own time to set, you are retarders. If you want the concrete to flow, like I know whether you see video of people pumping the concrete, they use them to pump concrete. They are super plasticizers. So these are chemicals that can enhance certain characteristics of concrete. So when we make concrete, because of the intermingling of these constituents, for example, you add excess water. When the concrete starts to cure, that water is going to evaporate. When the water evaporates, what stays in place of the water? Once we not get something there, what stays there? The air. and our air does not transfer stress. So when that member is low there, you already have voids in the concrete. These voids will lead to small cracks that we call hairline cracks when the member is low there. These hairline cracks are the one that will connect. More hairline cracks come together, they form bigger cracks. And these bigger cracks will be something like a gateway for dangerous materials to enter our concrete. So to take care of that issue of those small cracks that you can see with your naked eye, you can see with the unaided eye, to take care of that issue of micro cracks, that's where we use fibers. There's the issue of steel fibers. People have been experimenting with steel fibers. But the issue of steel fibers, they are synthetic fibers. That means they are not natural. You need to deplete other resources to get them. So to take care of that issue, that's what people like me are experimenting with natural material, like plant-based materials. For example, palm. People plant palm for the oil, right? But the palm got leaf. The coconut, we eat the coconut got leaf. People also experimenting with coconut there. You eat the coconut, you finish eating the coconut, they are dead that leaf. We can burn that dirt and add it to concrete, coconut coir. So the palm, if you went to Palm Bay in Sam Darby in Bombay County, they can chop up the palm leaf and throw it away. So we say, okay, instead of this being a waste, since society not using it, let's see what we can incorporate in concrete to take care of the issue of micro crack. So we can use synthetic material anymore. We can use natural material that we're planting and growing. People are even experimenting with cattle bone. Cow, they go to the butchery and take the cow bone. You go and burn it and see if you can experiment with it and see if it has some cementing properties. So that's the issue of the formation of macro cracks, and we want to take care of it because every chemical that can enter our concrete, it starts with macro cracks. These macro cracks over time, they will get bigger, they tend to structural cracks.
Okay, so I will take one more question and I'm going to join again. So this one is from Jimmy S. Wallaver Jr. He said, what is the purpose of footing in a building foundation? What is the difference between a pre-stressed concrete beam and a reinforced concrete beam?
Okay. So 14. So Jim, 14. So you elephant, you don't see elephant get small for? Because elephant so heavy, it's the issue of let's go back to our general science.
So I come before you come to the question, let me just ask all the question when then you answer all, then I go to John. The second question is from an engineering point of view, what recommendation do you have for the Ministry of Public Works and the Engineering Society of Liberia to help build up the capacity of young engineers? Which branch of civil engineering will be mostly needed in Liberia for the future entrance of career opportunity and development? Geotechnical, structural, environmental, transportation, etc. So I think his question, you can just join all to get your answer.
Okay, so 14, just like I was saying, from our elementary science, we say pressure is force per unit area. So the bigger the area, the smaller the pressure. The smaller the area, the higher the pressure. So I mentioned the issue of elephant. Elephant big. So the elephant feet big. The elephant feet is big because the elephant feet needs to evenly spread a heavy load that coming from a weight on the ground. If you make elephant feet to load at deer feet, everywhere the elephant step, it will hitch because the feet will go in the ground. So the same thing will now put all that load together in the building. It is the 14 that transfer the load to the underlying soil. So we want to be careful. We can't make the 14 too small. When you make the 14 too small, it will suffer from what we term as punching share. It's like I take this in and I point the pen through it. The pen is going to go through this, right? This is punching share. When the 14 too small, it will go through the soil. If you don't want to make it too big, because when you make it too big, you're wasting the person money. So you got to find a perfect balance between the issue of punching share, where the 14 will not pass through the ground. It will sit down on the ground the way you wanted to spread your load. And you also don't want it to solve what we term as, you don't want it to slide. So 14 is responsible to share our to spread our structural loads evenly to the ground. Then he talked about the issue of reinforced concrete and pre-stressed concrete. Reinforced concrete is a traditional way of construction. We say it's a composite material that contains concrete and steel. But concrete is a passive person. Concrete is a passive member. In other words, two of you talking your thing, you're making flour. If the person that is making flour will not hate me, I will not talk in your business. How steel can operate. Steel and concrete together fighting against the load. But steel will not interfere in the relationship between the load and the concrete unless steel feels threatened. So when the load one ally, it won't hurt steel, that's when steel posts up its resistance. But as long as the load is not a threat to steel, steel remains passive. Steel will fall here and be looking at 200 and they're fighting. So the steel only gets active in a reinforced concrete member when the concrete cracks, when the concrete now fail, then the steel comes now to take the load. So we say, but then, and you must know that if you live in a building that crack, obviously, if you're in a crack and a structural crack, you'll be afraid, right? So to take care of that issue of serviceability, because one of our people that live in building will not be afraid. So we say, okay, since steel that passive, man, that made him active. That's where the issue of pre-stressing come about. So we'll take the steel, we stretch the steel that day. We put jacket, we stretch the steel apart. When we stretch the steel, then we put concrete. When we cut or when we remove the jack, the stretching that will stretch the steel will tend to come back. Even with the theory of elasticity, when you stretch something and you remove the load that you apply on it, it tends to return to its original shape. In returning to its original shape now, it's applying what we term as a compressive force to the beam or to the structural member. So, Jim, normally when you see a pre-stressed concrete member can be straight like it. It will normally be bent, like the same way the St. John Bridge, looking at St. John Bridge, not straight like it. We call it camber. It will be bent like it. So that means you are putting the member in service with compression already in it. And the flower that you can see, all the places you are, those flower that you see, the concrete graders are on it, they are pre-stressed concrete graders. They don't put them there. They can make them on the side and they can put them in place. The flower that is building, that they come in build 540, are pre-stressed concrete graders they will use. Because pre-stressing makes concrete competitive to steel. So James, pre-stressing is we induce stress in the member before we put it in service. Before we even build the horse, we make the steel in a concrete vest. So the steel just there. We make it active. We take it from a passive state to an active state. So soon the load start, it and the concrete will start fighting the load. But they're using reinforced concrete, the steel will not interfere until the concrete cracks. When the load finish beating the concrete, before the steel interfere. And after now, the people that live in our building, the post scared now, oh, they were coming for now because it's cracking now. We don't want that. So we activate the steel and the concrete together so they can fight the load together. So that's the concept of pre-stressing. And he talked about the issue of career, what advice do I have for the engineering society, the Ministry of Public Works? My man, I remember me hard soon. I don't know what they advise the Ministry of Public Works. The Ministry of Public Works has a lot of people that I have a lot of respect for, like big brothers who mentor me. I don't know how they advise them. You know what to do. Like I said, we already have a lot of good policies on the book. We've got brains. There's no shortage of brain like bro anymore. You want a scientist, like bro has a scientist. You want an engineer, you want just anybody you need, like bro has it now. You just need the platform to perform. The issue of which branch of engineering is available nowadays. I will advise people to go into the highway and transportation area. That's because we still have a lot of virgin road. We haven't even paved, and how many percent of our roads are paved? So we need highway and transportation engineers to take care of these. So let's venture more into highway and transportation engineering so that we can solve our problems.
So we'd like to welcome one of our colleagues, Edwin Olu Besman. But before that, we'll recognize some of our some of the big brothers are watching us, and we have our veteran James and father is watching. Honorable James father is watching, and Mr. Muniru Yen, he's also an engineer following us also. Abu Ibrahim Kamara is also watching. My own friend Rose Rosa is also watching. And so on the live, we had a lot of questions from the stream you are here. Lama V Kamara is watching. So I'm going to take the question, but I'll go back to Edwin. Edwin will say something, then I'll come back to John. We'll to play like that and see what's going to happen. So because Edwin just coming, so Edwin going to say something. Edwin, you're welcome. You can unmute yourself and say something.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. I'm sorry for coming late. I think I was just following the conversation. I want to say thank you to Emmanuel for, sharing insights on, construction in Liberia. And I think the first time when I appeared on the show, I said the same thing. We still have a lot to do in Liberia, and we just need to come together, brainstorm, and put our minds to work and be able to address the issues. And I think, yeah, Emmanuel has said a lot. So I'm just following the conversation. Maybe before at the end of the conversation, I have questions to give.
Thank you so much. I have to give you that respect so you can come in and say something. And more especially, you're an engineer. I'm really, really praying so that we can grab you here today, that you guys can be able to meet and share out there, which is one of the purpose of this platform. And so I will go to John. John, are you there? Can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Then we'll go to Rachel. Today, I don't know. I'm like marginalizing myself. I'm not asking too much question because the questions are
Yeah,
so many. Even the questions on the live, I've not even reached intro. And some of them I'm reading through them. The ones that are most similar, I recognize them and say answer all together like this. So we're gonna do that and move on. But it's really, really a good show though. And folks, if you are just watching all this is Science and Society, we always here on Tuesday and Friday. We here discussing scientific issue. People who are into engineering, who are into general science, natural science, medical science, and we here whether you are outside of Liberia, you are in Liberia. We always meet here on Tuesday and Friday with a particular guest to discuss issues, policy issues that are related to Liberia, how we can develop Liberia. It's now time that we come together as Liberians to be able to, change our mindset on how we can be able to develop things back home. Forget about the politics and everything. And many of the young people, the young people, we still have the time. We can keep learning outside of Liberia. We can and see the good things back home and can take it home back. We all of us here are outside of Liberia, like I said the other day, but we're doing the needful here. We're not chunking deck in the street. We are not keeping the people's street here dirty. But when we go back to Liberia, we're not applying similar things, and these things are something that is so worrying. And Liberia is the only country we have our parents live there, our families are living there. Why would we choose to make our country like this? So we have to and media every time to discuss and our policy makers who are also watching always they come here. Some of them maybe they get bumped into our videos. I would like to say this is a place where we are not into politics. We tell you in your face some of the things that you are doing and are not professional. You have to do the needful so that Liberia can be able to move forward. So it's just love for country. That's why we hear. And similar thing like you hear from Emmanuel, Edwin, Olu, Besman, Madison, or Rachel, John, myself, and other colleagues who always hear. We always hear. Saying things that are always related to Liberia that we think we can develop Liberia. So John, you can ask your question, then we can move to the only female so that she can ask her question. Unmute yourself. You are muted, John.
Mohammed, I don't have a question. Actually, I don't have a question today. So I think you move to Rachel.
Okay. So before Rachel, do you have any question? Rachel, do you have any question or comment to make? Not just question, but
No, I
comment.
don't have any question. I just want to tell Emmanuel, thank you for, giving us a little concept on civil engineering because, like you said, when we see beautiful structure, each time we pass over the bridge, we should say thank you to the civil engineering for our safety. And yes, you just gave me a broad concept, like even the building I'm in. I think the last night right now I was like, We were on the first floor and at 12th floor. Imagine the delicious. All the things coming straight on me. I don't think I will even survive this, but yeah. So thank you. A lot of people out there we really know. And like we just see beautiful building, bridges, structure, and we just be like, oh, this building is so beautiful. We don't know the work, the time, the energy, the the thinking you're putting into it, securing our life, our safety on a daily basis. Indeed, not all you were kept. So thanks to you for today. Yeah.
So we James Emmanuel, the questions are so many, and I'm going to take the question from God gave. God gave is another student from different school of thought, and asking this question, and he said, I'm really interested in the process, the chemical reaction that involves the conversion of corn and sugar cane to a material that play a vital role in concrete preparation. And so that's
Okay,
John
good.
question. Yeah. But whatever, I'm not going to take two questions again for anyone else. I'll be picking among those questions. I'm getting to know this.
Okay, so he asked about, so he basically want to understand the chemistry, like the material science. So let's first look at the constituents of cement, because cement is the cementing material in the matrix. Cement is made of silica, SiO2, it's made of aluminum. These are the predominant ones. There are some other chemical components in the cement, but these are the predominant ones. So this SiO2, if we can find any material, so it's made of aluminum, it's made of silica, and it's made of calcium. These are the three predominant constituent materials in cement. So if you find any material that has the properties of silicon or SiO2, that material can be used as a supplementary cementitious material in cement. So when you extract the sugarcane bagasse ash, you burn the sugarcane, you firstly you clean it, because it will have smaller constituents in it. It will have maybe potassium, it will have sodium. So you clean it, you wash it, you dry it in an oven, and then you do what we term as SEM, scanning electron microscopy, to look at the individual particles. How do they look? How would they enhance? How would they bound with the cement? Because you are adding there a supplementary cementitious material. So I'm not saying you just pick anything and just experiment with it. You must first do a chemical analysis and see if this thing that you're going to experiment with has some of the predominant chemical composition that cement has. It has been proven that sugarcane bagasse ash, when we threw the sugarcane out there, that can be, when you burn it, the ash, it has been proven that it has silica. It has been proven that rest husk, when people pound the rest dirt, when you burn it, it has silica in it. It has been proven that corn cob has silica in it as well. So us from the east, from West Africa, our challenge is we don't have volcanoes around there. So one of our challenges could be to look for something that has calcium. So like I said, people are experimenting with bones, cattle bones, cow bone. Because I think if you trace bone, there's an element of calcium in bone. So people are experimenting with bone to see if it has enough calcium content that can make it to be a supplementary cementitious material in cement. Because the idea is we want to reduce the amount of cement that we use. Since the production of cement is energy intensive and it also depletes natural resources, we want to reduce the amount of cement that we use. So we use things that are not primary materials. For example, you're not playing corn because you want a corn there. You're playing corn because you want a corn. So when you finish taking the corn from it, then we go to the garbage and pick up that cup that you throw away. When you don't play sugarcane because you want the sugarcane there, you play sugarcane because you want the juice. So when you extract the juice, then we take your waste So we are incorporating waste into the concrete, but you must be sure that this waste that you are incorporating has some of the chemical composition that cement has.
Okay, so I mean, I will go to the last question and go back to the panelists. Maybe they have any other question to ask. But this time, I'm only going to take like I'm going to close my eye and take the question.
Mohammed,
Yes, yes.
I don't know, even though my side is not really clear, but I want to know whether you have asked all of the questions that are in the comment section. I mean, some people are
Yeah,
asking very important questions in the comment
yeah.
section.
That's what I'm to now. I'm asking them, but I have to do the democratic way. Pick one question. One person can ask two questions, and then the other person will be level. We have a lot of questions on the live, and that's what I'm doing. And so
Okay.
after asking, so I will go back to not Gabriel. I think I'll go back to Stanley T. Stephen, because Kekula is asking a lot of questions. I'll go back to him and ask some of his questions. We already asked two questions from Kekula already. Answer two questions from Kekula, and we'll go to Stanley Stephen. Stanley is saying, what make concrete in Kenya more durable than the ones in Liberia in terms of super plastic laser? What's your take on engineers engineer casting? Yeah, that casting the beam in one form, then have the first day and do the final work the next day in Liberian setting. For example, the cache today, tomorrow they do have, the next day they do different caching. So he said, what really the cost? Is it really safe? I think that what he mean, and is it good to do? Is it a good way?
Okay, so the first part of the question is asking about why concrete in Kenya is more durable than concrete in Liberia. I don't believe that. But concrete is like food.
The first question.
Imagine you won't cook. Do you agree that if they gave you the same recipe and they give the same recipe to Rachel, the two of you food would taste this differently? Mohammed?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Sure.
Good.
Yeah,
so that's it.
I agree. Because we are
different. When you have a bad concrete, you don't blame the concrete. You blame the person, the chef who put the concrete together. You don't blame. It's like you cook potato grain and the potato grain, and you blaming the potato grain. Why you blaming the potato grain? Somebody had all the ingredients. It was up to them to make the potato grain tasty, and they didn't do it. So we don't blame the concrete. We blame the person who put the concrete together. So the same ingredient that we use for concrete in Kenya is the same ingredient that we use for concrete in Liberia. But here is something that we don't know. That is, the more you sustain, every concrete professional will tell you that when you cast a concrete, after 3 days, you have a very good strength. But there will be no much difference between the 3-day and the 7-day strength. There will be no much difference between the 7-day and the 14-day strength. That is because when you cast the concrete, the chemical reaction in the concrete is high. So in order to continue to increase the strength of the concrete, you need to feed the chemical reaction. It's a fire. If you want the fire to continue catching, you got to keep putting fuel, put wood. So I think that's the edge that the Kenyans have on us. They can put fuel. They fuel the chemical reaction in the concrete. We don't have that. And how can we get that? We can get that by trying to understand the fundamental interaction between the constituents of concrete. How do they interact? And that is by reading literature. So I don't believe that concrete in Kenya is stronger than concrete in Liberia, because the shape is what matters. The concrete is the same. The same recipe for good concrete is the same recipe for bad concrete. The shape is what matters. Then you talked about people casting and leaving. Okay, for example, you casting column. That's something that is very popular in Liberia. You casting column, you cast half of it, you come out the next day to continue. I don't think that is safe. The reason why they do it is because the concrete they're using is not fluid enough to flow through the form. Because mind you, even from a structural engineering standpoint, the joint you cast today, you leave it. You know that the concrete that down here will kill. The next day you can put new concrete oil, a cold joint will be formed. All of us know that the weakest part of the chain is the link, right? So that cold joint is the weakest part of that structural member. I don't subscribe to the idea that you can cast half today and cast half the next day. When you're casting a column, cast the whole column so you can get the best out of the column. You can't have today, you come out, you can't tomorrow, you have created a co-joint. That co-joint that you don't lead, that the weakest point of that column. So I think that answers Stanley's questions.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll go to the next question. Edwin, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I said that's brilliant. I'm enjoying the conversation. I think I agree with
Okay.
him too.
Okay. So we will go to the next one. Gabriel W. Henry. And he saying I am a mechanical student, but I have so much interest in civil as well. My study told me that the Mediterranean Sea that separate Europe from Africa has too much current that it cannot allow a column of to be planted in the seabed. So if it was very much compared to have road transport system between Africa and Europe, which method and mechanism could we put into place to have a bridge from Africa to Europe? This question
Okay,
is
so
so scientific, I know it's so
this,
generational, I know.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is something I must say. I've seen this, but I think this is a conspiracy theory. You know why it's a conspiracy theory? Because they believe that the part of the ocean that is between Morocco and Spain, and I play the ocean current is too strong to build anything there. I don't believe it. That is because anything is possible in engineering. The only difference between you and possibility is that budget. If you gave me unlimited budget, just unlimited budget, I can build a bridge across the sea with unlimited budget. So I don't believe that is a valid reason. They have a tunnel between Great Britain and France, a tunnel underground between Great Britain and France. How is that possible? So I just believe that, sorry, but you've not want to connect with them. That why. But anything is possible in engineering. That's a conspiracy theory. I don't believe it. Give anybody unlimited budget and they can build a bridge across the ocean, no matter the ocean current that is there. So I don't think that it's because of ocean current that we don't have a bridge between Africa and Europe. I don't believe so. Because people are already struggling with people going there through boat. Then you go put a bridge, you know what you're doing? So they just created a conspiracy theory and try to make it scientific so that we can subscribe to it. But I don't think it's the truth.
So you might just tell for the audience last day. I'm gonna read. I beg you, just take pen and just copy the question. I'm gonna read all calculator questions. You wrote a lot of questions. I'm gonna pick among them. Just calculate now because we read off the comment. So his first question is saying, with this industrial waste, I mean waste material, I mean waste, but it didn't waste.
Yeah.
If they serve the purpose that the cement can save.
Okay.
So you that take note of that question. And the next question is saying, how long could it take until a building collapse after an engineer employ his progressive collapse design? Yeah. So that's the second question. And another question he asked was, and what component could be used to save that purpose, progressive collapse? And then another question say, during the concrete curing process, we use water for that. Is it safe? And I think you talk about this today, but you can also talk about it again. And then the last question from he said, around Liberia nowadays, I mostly see the use of CMU blocks in its slab. Is it safe? If so, what benefit do they bring to the structural and integrity of the building? Integrity of the building. So I think these are all the question, and then I'm just going to read this comment for you so that this is a commentation for you. It says, as we continue to improve our human capacity, this is from Chuchu Kemo. He said, as we continue to improve our human capacity as young people, so much we do with our mindset as Liberians. We too can adapt and implement standards, incorporate innovation to improve our structure in more sustainable ways. Thanks for this show, Engineer J. Emmanuel Brana Sumo. My respect. And so these are so far so good. And the people who are watching earlier, we have our big brother John Hine. John Hine is also watching, and and also we have a lot of people, Emmanuel Kanga and Washington Murphy Dagba. A lot of our colleagues joining us today. And I would like to say thank you and also keep sharing the live video because the show is done over here. So it's over to you, Emmanuel.
Okay, so the first thing is he's concerned, and that's a very valid concern. Can these industrial waste that we try to incorporate into concrete, can they serve the purpose that cement serve? And the answer is yes. That is why we do experiment to confirm that they can serve the purpose that we want. For example, I mentioned the issue of sugarcane bagasse ash. One of the chemical constituents of cement, the SiO2. So we have proved that SiO2 is also present in sugarcane bagasse ash. That's why we can use it as a partial replacement material for cement in concrete. So industrial waste that we're using, there are materials that can perfectly collaborate with cement to enhance the capacity of our concrete structures. Okay, so that's it. So the next thing is he's concerned about how long does this issue of progressive collapse take for all the people that live in the building for us to take them out? There's something in engineering design that we term as redundancy. So you do redundant design. For example, there is a column here, there's one column here, and there's another column here. So if I'm doing design, I do a redundant design in a way that if the middle column fails, the two edge columns can be able to temporarily share the load that the middle column was taking till I can institute repair measures to regain the structural integrity of the building. So that is one way that we can lengthen the time for progressive collapse and buy time to institute repair measures. And then you was concerned about whether we can employ alternative measures to progressive collapse. Of course we can. Like I said, everything is possible in engineering. If you want, when you build a horse, when earthquake comes, the horse will not fall down, there's a technology for it, but it's expensive. Developing countries are not ready for that technology. So Joshua, to answer your question, yeah, we can build collapse resistant structures, but it requires a lot of money. It requires a lot. And developing countries like Liberia ready for that kind of technology yet. We can build structure that can even survive in the case of earthquake. We don't have that. The next thing is we can cure concrete with water. Is it safe? Yes, it is safe. Wet curing. Other places they can use blanket. You cover the concrete with blanket. But why do we do wet curing? Because when the cement and the water hydrate, it's an exothermic process. Exothermic means it gives out. It gives out heat. And so because you don't want the rate at which heat is being given out to be higher than the need of the concrete, you tend to regulate that hydration process by adding water. So we do wet curing because we want to regulate the hydration of the concrete. We don't want heat to live at an unmonitored scale. So we use wet curing to stabilize the temperature of the concrete. Then he raised the issue of seeing CMU, concrete masonry units, block in slabs. I mentioned that from the beginning. Yes, that's another technology. But in India, there's a technology known as beam and block technology. The normal reinforced concrete that you must can use in Labrador, a lot of people don't use it yet. They're using beam and block technology. They put beams across the length of the slab. Then they put block there. Blocks that are perfectly designed. So you're putting wire mesh. You're not using steel rod again. So it saves you a lot of money. You're not using steel rod. You just take the wire mesh, spray it over the slab. Then you do something like maybe 80 millimeter concrete thickness just to cover the wire mesh and hold the block together. So that's also possible using concrete masonry units in slab along with beams. That's an emerging alternative building technology material. So I think all Joshua's questions are absorbed.
Thank God, and I'm so happy, Emmanuel, that you were able to answer all the questions on the live, which is very important. I know one way or other those people who asking those questions are all people students that you one way or other mentor. But I will go to my colleagues. I will ask the last question for the show because we almost out of time. And so I will go to start from the female again, then from there we'll John, Madison, question or comment. You have any question or comment, you can do all. So Rachel, do you have any question or comment? Final question or comment to Emmanuel? Rachel, are
No,
you
no,
there?
no.
Okay. So making it so simple for us. So John, do you have any final question or comment? Do you have any final question or comment, John? Are you there? John from Uganda, do you have any final question or comment?
Tonight I'm facing a little bit internet problem, so I think I'm enjoying the show for Emmanuel. So no question for now. Yes, I'm okay.
Thank you so much, John. Madison,
Mohammed, I want to say something to Mr. Smoke. Each time we invite a guest here, the show guests are so interesting from one speaker to another. To admit today's section is so interesting, and I want to say lastly, thanks to Mr. Smoke for providing some of the basic clarity about engineering and also the impact it plays on our societies, as well as providing direction for young people who are in Liberia in terms of which path to take in engineering. So I'm so happy for him coming to our invite, and we wish to talk to him at any time, just in case we need. So, Mr. Samo, thanks for coming, and it's a pleasure having you today.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Edwin,
Yeah, for me, I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you to Mr. Sumo for sharing insights and for clearing some misconceptions. Because people have just different things on mind. And again, I'm gonna make this very clear that in engineering, everything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything can happen. And as a student of engineering, I usually appreciate everything that I do see around me. It's actually beautiful to see the things that we do. Because this field is a very calculated field. It's a field that we think outside of the box. We reach a critical point and we make a lot of critical decisions. So I'm happy that we can learn from Emmanuel. I mean, for me, it was so. Even though I came late, but I must admit that it was really expressive. It was interesting. It was everything. I want to say thank you, and I hope you can come again to share more with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you
thank you,
so much.
Edwin. Edwin, just by the history, Edwin is the first guest of this show who opened this show for the first time. Edwin was the first guest who opened the show with an engineering student. And even though it's a
Okay.
science platform, and he was even though engineering too is a science, but he was able to accept the invite. And in fact, he really emphasized that he will always be here. This thing is something that's very good that will yield result. One young man that kind of will support his friends in everything. He's back in Liberia with his master, and we hope that policymaker will look up to him because we see him as one of us. Edwin is a hardworking and inspiring young man, making back home to make contribution to Liberia from Malaysia. And so like you said, like I said earlier, if you are just watching this is Science and Society, we've been here 7 o'clock Liberian time today, and we've been with J. Emmanuel Banasumo. He's been here bringing us, he's telling us the story and also giving us some insight in engineering, engineering science, in this engineering sciences, telling us some of the things we see around, the importance of it. But I have a last question for Emmanuel, then he can be able to do a closing. And that question have to do with that we didn't ask question about the last time I checked your work experience, you had something doing with the Grand Bassa Community College, and this is something that inspired me a lot. Now, most even young people who are into engineering don't even like to teach. And I mean, how have that really helped you? Because I see a lot of young people even on the live here. I've noticed that most of them you are mentoring them a lot. And how do you feel? And how having them on your side every time supporting you? We watch your flyer when you share your flyer on your page. And we saw a lot of comments from most of the young people sharing your flyer around, and we seen a huge turn from the young people here because this kind of show in Liberia, you can't get turned off on this kind of show because it's something that is free from politics. We're not insulting anyone here. Neither we running propaganda on someone. So we're not going to be in 1,000. We're not going to be in 1,000,000. But we always satisfy with the number we have because people who come across this video are passionate about some of the things we do here. And also, when we leave, sometimes people who come here, they also watch. And sometimes the number will go up to 1,000 and up to 2,000 like this. So, how do you feel working with these young people over the year?
Well, you know, uh, one of the things I believe is I've got problems with motivational speakers when they say you to find your passion, because I believe that you can get, when you're good at something, you get passionate about it. When you're very good at something, you can get passionate about it. So I started teaching secondary schools down the line. You know, at the time in LU, you in engineering school, the only hustle you can do is to teach. That's the only hustle that gives you flexibility to go to lectures. So I started teaching secondary school. So when I graduated from LU, I had a chance, an opportunity to lecture at the Grand Bassa Community College. I was there up to the point where I rose to the position of assistant dean for the engineering college there. So that's where I was. I think up to the time I left Liberia, that's when I parted ways with them. So most of these people are people who maybe we met in secondary school. Some of them we met at the community college in Bassau, and then there was another college that I used to teach around here at VA Junction. So these are people who are, maybe we crossed paths at one of these places. I mean, but it's been good. I think it's actually helped to build my personality over the years. It makes you to see things from a diverse point of view, because as a teacher or a lecturer, you get to interact with people from different backgrounds. And if you can accommodate all these different cultural orientation, different backgrounds, and stay coexist with people, I think it makes life a little easier for you. So the issue of adaptation can't really be a challenge anymore. And I mean, I like it so much. And that's something I would like to do maybe in the long run when I get back home. Also, I would one day like to be in a classroom again.
Wow, this is something that is so inspiring. I can really stop saying thank you to you and stop saying I'm proud of you because, like I said, during the opening of the show, you are a really passionate young man. I see you to be someone who will even uplift your career. And my advice to you here is that don't stop and don't stop also networking with your friends. Don't stop helping your friends who are down the line
Oh
because
yeah,
the
yeah,
experience
sure.
we get, the experience we normally get from other people is that whenever you going up, sometimes you tend to forget about the people who the, both you guys are in the same cycle. Some of them are you guys are all engineer and say, okay, I'm more engineer than you, and so
Nah,
I'll urge you to be that professional person that even if a person had a bachelor, even if a person was a senior student at the university, so that you can serve as inspiration to them. They can be able to reach your level, and we can get a library that we all want. And I'm so happy, yeah, for you coming. And when you reach out to us, this is the beauty of this platform. We're always looking into our handles, looking into our inbox. Now, looking up to professional people so that they can be able to come on. We're not being paid for here, and we're not never ask anyone for money to come on this platform. And this is the reason why we always I'm saying to people who are out there who want to help, and we always because we want to reach as far or people who can listen to even Facebook, can watch Facebook, can don't have access to internet, so that they can be able to get us. Most of these community radio stations that are in Liberia, the ELBC, we have for I mean people who are reaching out to we are reaching out to hope that they're going to find a way out so that we can be able to we scientists can have a space in public so that people can understand what some of the things they're doing, some of the things they are not to do, and these things you are explaining here. I mean, I didn't know that you can even use bone, animal bone to do concrete. I didn't know some of these things, and I didn't know. I just have my little, chemistry knowledge about different things. I was thinking the librarian way, and this is something that today I learned. This is like a classroom. This was like a classroom, and to be frank, I mean, we see a lot huge turnover. Some of the people who I see even watching, I didn't notice that they're gonna watch because it's something that I probably your lecture here today prove that you are a scholar and keep making Africa proud, which you are representing one of Africa's best scholarship. I'm proud of you and would like to go back to you for closing. Maybe probably you have closing. If not, my colleague to have any additional thing to say. Madison, you have anything to say? Any additional thing to say to the guests?
No, Mohammed, I think I've already done my closing
Okay.
statement to the guests. So,
Yeah. So yeah, it seems as John. So okay, so we will go back to you so that you can do your closing. It's not time to call it a day, even though we went above the time, but it's good because these are lectures that you can just touch it. We
Okay.
want to get clarity. That's the essence of this kind of platform. Hope that we'll have you here again. We'll always be keeping your inbox so that you can be able
Okay.
to provide some clarity, some engineering
Okay.
clarity for us. Thank you so
Okay.
much, and it's all to you for a parting comment.
So I want to say thank you to the team. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for the opportunity. And the viewers, thank you so much. Thank you for the turnout. So I think it was a fairly good discussion, and I will appreciate the chance. Don't hesitate to reach out if you see the need. Don't hesitate. I think we should have more of these kind of conversations because all of us can be politicians. There's got to be, I mean, all countries are making headway because they are focused on STEM. So all of us back home can be politicians. They have to be technocrats, people who implement the ideas, like the vision, people who can develop a blueprint from the politician's vision and transfer them into tangibles. And Liberia depends on us in the STEM sector to do that. So I think the fact that you see a conglomerate of young people who's like very committed to this cause, that's something worth appreciating and commending. So I thank you so much for the time. And yeah, it's a pleasure. It's been really good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emmanuel, and it was very, very good show. Thank you so much. Folks,
Okay.
here, if you are just joining, we'll be leaving. It's not time to leave, and this is Science and Society. We always here on Tuesday and Friday. On Friday, we'll have Dr. Jerito. Dr. Jerito is a pharmacy farm doctor, and he's a teacher of so many young people. He also teach organic. He's an organic chemist, and also he hold a D farm in pharmacy, and also you know, he's a organic chemist, and he been in the teaching arena for a very, very, very long time. Even some of the most of our colleagues who on this platform, he have imparted knowledge into them. He's gonna be here. He's agreed. If I tomorrow the flyer will be up, he will be agreed to be here with us on Friday, and we'll start the show on Friday by 7:30. 7:30 we'll be here. We'll all gather here at 7:30 to be with Dr. Jerito. He's not doctor because he have a farm dinner, so no more Mesoto again. So he's gonna be here to tell us some of his experience and some of the hard questions surrounding the pharmaceutical chemistry, the organic chemistry. He's gonna be here to answer that organic chemistry of life. Those questions that you have to ask, you can go and make your research. And a veteran, an experienced veteran, will be here with us, and he's gonna be here to answer some of these questions. And so, guys, Martin, do you have any comment to make now? Our guests have left us, John. Any other comment, any other final comment, maybe probably?
Mohammed, when you call Dr. Tony, I just got smiling. Imagine seeing our own man, Dr. Tony, on Friday. It would be so nice, and I wish we will have another good show here on Friday again.
Yeah, Dr. To will be here. We talked 2 times now, and he called me yesterday and he finally made some corrections, some of the things I wrote, and he sent back to me, and I think he's ready. He suggested the time on 7:30. He told me to adjust his time, so he's gonna be here. It shows that he will be here on Friday, and we're managing to reach out to people who we think that are hearing that we can hear their voices so that they can be able to come up and speak on scientific issues back in Liberia. We hope that this is not like we want to be biased, but we are reaching across people like Emmanuel. Emmanuel today very, very shows some uh, inspiration to us, and he's so inspiring young man doing PhD candidate here in Kenya is something that is very, very, very much laudable. And I mean, the tenor was very, very huge. And just imagine some of the questions were so many. I'm so happy, and
Sure.
guys, it was actually a good show. And hope that we will meet. We'll meet on is it on
Friday.
Friday? Yeah, Friday we'll be
Next
here
week,
again.
Friday.
Yeah, is it next week or this Friday?
In fact, this Friday, this one. I'm thinking about coming and see you next Friday.
Yeah. You're thinking about Emanuela
see,
comedy, right? Yeah, sure.
see you
Is
next
on
Friday.
Friday we'll be here with that Toto. That the two the guys will, I think, will inform any other further thing will be able to give you some information about that Toto, and hope that you enjoy the show. The show was a very, very good
Oh,
show.
so good. Sure.
Yeah, and thank you, Emmanuel, for coming again. Hope that like we say always, we'll contact Emmanuel in case of we want any other clarity in terms of any area engineering. He's gonna be here to give us some insight about some engineering stories, some engineering news back in Liberia. On the then science in society, I will leave you with this thing song so that we'll be here on Friday. Friday will be here. Thank you, Madison. Thank you to the other guys who joined us, Eddie Olu Bestman, John Satamba, and also Richard Taylor. He was always here. And thank you so much. Bye bye, Madison.
Bye, Mohammed. Nothing for now. Bye. See you Friday.
All right. See you Friday. Okay.
You will come in, will say, yeah, girl. You will come in, will say, yeah, girl. You will come in, will say, yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Oh, yeah, girl. Why ya her woman why ya say why back